Yo, what's going on, guys? Howdy, howdy, howdy. Yeah, I gotta figure out, Logain, how to have my stream deck pair a vertical scene and like a regular scene together, so I can like change scenes like this at the same time. I haven't figured that out yet, but I also haven't really looked very hard. How we doing, guys? Spent the past like 3 days just writing guides, making videos, and making sure I don't fall behind on deadlines. How you doing, Henry? What up, Insom? What up, Kafka? Spent so much time like writing about the game that I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to just play the game. Writing guides, slick. I gotta get my Wowhead guides done, biz lists, all the updates to Disc and Holy and how they're changing. Got dungeon video guides coming out, 60-second healer guides, long form healer guide videos. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. Yes, sir. Yeah, Holy Priest does feel better in dungeons. Raid, I'm just like constantly fighting against mana. I can like keep up with everybody, and then I run out of mana, and then I'm sad. Just like, oh boy. I think Shaw said he was going to be on soon. So we'll see the app's on. Still not 4100, probably not happening, but still very happy with the push. Yeah, I mean, if you're over 4K, I think you're still safe for the 1% at least. Which is pretty damn good. Yeah, 39.26. Yeah, I am 9 points away from title right now. So I gotta get back on that tomorrow or maybe tonight. Maybe tonight. But I'm kind of close. But at the same time, I also knew I was gonna be stressed as fuck if I didn't get a bunch of guide work done. So next season, I'm not gonna cut it this close. Next season, I'm not cutting it nearly that close. Druid in season 2? Pretty rough. Pretty rough. I'm gonna do a couple dungeons as Druid, and then a little bit of Shaman, and then we'll see. Druid hasn't been buffed yet, no. Time management is very important. And when you don't have anybody else telling you how to manage your time, you gotta do it yourself. I'm like, damn. Got nobody to blame but myself. Yeah. Show me how bad it'll be? Yeah, I got you, bro. I was looking up some logs and stuff before stream. Who the fuck's gonna take their place? Hey, Mr. Gray. Is him better used as a defensive now, or the healing bad anyway? The healing's good in dungeons, but if you can find a way to like do both at once, that's the best way to do it. What up, Blade? Yes, we're finally back. Getting caught up on a lot of content. We brought on a third editor for dungeon guides and stuff like that. So I got one editor working on our class guides. Class guide videos, another editor working on short form like TikTok stuff, another editor working on dungeon stuff. So I had to make sure that they got fed. I had to do like work, you know, before I could go play video games. And I had the Wowhead guides to do. The Wowhead guides, they take a lot of time. Big content time, that's right. Hey, Cheap. Yeah, but it's gonna be fun because next week it's just gonna be like video, you know. And we'll probably. I'm getting better at the time management. I got like a long ass list of things that I'm like, oh, I get to make this, I get to make that. It's like exciting, you know. Art, thank you for the 14 months, dude. Oh well, Scarlet. I'm like on track with all my deadlines. Thankfully, Wowhead's like, hey, you don't have to have all your raid tips on Monday. Which I'm like, thank goodness, because the raid's not coming out until the following week, right? I was stressing about that. So, I believe so, Amelia. We're gonna do some druid testing in a minute. I'm waiting on my tank, Mr. Shah, to hop on. Yeah, it really does. But like it sucked when I'm like, oh, I'm not streaming today. Like I want to stream, the past couple days. But now that like I'm on right now, and I'm like, oh shit, like editor's got stuff. I'm where I need to be with my Wowhead guides. I can go play games. A lot better now, used to be. I was stressing, like I was just telling everybody about all the deadlines, all the stuff I want to get done, and now I'm in like a pretty solid spot, The Verdant Infusion nerf reverted, dude, it's so bad, man. Not having, like, taking away methods of hot extension and making regrowth feel a lot worse. Shit's weird, man. Shit is real weird. Yeah. Yeah, and if we have testing tonight, or sorry, if we have tuning, if we have more raid tuning or M+ tuning, I'm going to do another one of those dummy dome raid tests with all the good healers. I'll try to do that tomorrow, if we have tuning tonight. I love this song as well, Sin. This is a banger. I've seen a lot of people playing Dragon Slick. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to do it today, because I am long overdue for doing some more Druid stuff. Actually, I might do it later. We'll see. I'll be a maybe on today, but I definitely will do it before PTR ends. Because I saw a lot of people talking about Evoker and like the damage that it's doing. Personally, I feel like healer damage becomes something that's like, if it's just damage on its own, I think it's something that becomes really relevant late in the seasons. Whereas early in the season, it's like, who's going to help the team survive? Who's going to bring a good raid buff? Stuff like that. Like with Monk, yeah, it did a bunch of damage, but it was also doing so much healing at the same time that it was making up for a lot of mistakes and errors, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a video out tomorrow about like my main and my goals and stuff, Yusui. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to push on Priest at the start of the season. And then when we get around to that like 0.5 type of area where we know what the meta is going to be, I think I'll probably do Fodom reroll at that point. Yeah. It's called Lichico, Ashwin is the name of it. Stinky, thank you for the 38 months. We are definitely getting more tuning. I think it'll be tonight, but if it's not tonight, it'll definitely be next week. Yeah, they're not going live with the raid and everything like that without more tuning. Yeah. What's the bug for it, Chief? Do you know? I would love to have an H-Pally season, though. I would really love to have an H-Pally season. What, like Archon, Adam? I mean, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like Priest, Pally, and Mistweaver as my 3 for raiding at the start. And I'll also, push keys on them and play them a lot and stuff. Yeah. Oh, did they update it? Oh, M+ rankings, let's see. And even though you mean so much to me. Oh yeah, for the damage side, I see. It's really happening. Never be happy again. Huh. Still does a lot of damage. It still does a lot of damage. Yeah, but that's the thing. DPS right here. HPS right here. But I don't know, it doesn't really like give you much on their performance. It's just like numbers. They take the API from, Warcraft logs or whatever, and they're like, oh, they're doing this much healing. And like, that doesn't really tell you a whole lot. Regrowth's doing significantly less healing than it should. That would explain a lot. Oh, well, I'm going to have a main and 2 alts for raid, Slav. So I think my main will be Priest, and then I think I'll have Pally and Monk for my alts for raid. Monk's kind of gutted right now, but they always find a way. They always find a way. Prez yoinking meta from HPAL would be hilarious and sad. I feel like HPL's healing is just better. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I kind of feel like it's better. Yeah. I think that site's just fake. That site just like takes your damage, takes your healing, and then puts some arbitrary rankings and stuff like that. It's a little fake. I don't know if I'm ready to just hop right into a Blinding Veil 19. Let me make my own key. What should we start with? I want to do Temple. I don't want to do Temple. Out of backspace.
Just signed for 6 more months.
Yo, Mool. Thank you for the 6 months, my dude. For 6 months. Oh, sorry, for 6 months in advance. Let's fucking go, man. Thank you, bro. I don't want this old garbage out of my bags here. Oh, I want that. I want that garbage. All right. $15, $18. Probably not doing any 20s right now. Probably not. All right. Temple. Key. Start. We love Drew Barrymore here. 8% nerf they did for Monk was unnecessary. Yeah, I mean after they nerfed the Morning Breeze type setup by like what 60%. Yeah. Yeah. Curse for add-ons, get all the add-ons in your UI ready, so I download your pack and it caused problems. Nope. I use CurseForge as well, Art. And so they encourage you to use Waggo because, you know, they benefit from having more people using their app and stuff, but you don't have to use it or anything. No. I always use CurseForge anyway, so when I started using the Waggo pack and everything, I have their desktop app, but like I don't get add-ons from it or anything like that. I just do my thing. Stand up playing Holy Priest anyway. Hey man, you know what you like. Yo, what up, Illuminos? How we doing? How we doing? Yeah, doing some PTR keys. I got Shaw hopping on a tank momentarily. So I just gotta grab some damage dealers. Day's going well, Dave. I was telling chat we're just getting ahead of all of our Wowhead and YouTube deadlines and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And now I can actually play video games. It's a good day. Dude, Pally's a lot of fun, Mul. Pally's a lot of fun. Too lazy to set up DPS. Fair, fair. Nah, I didn't get asked to cast World First this time around. So we'll be staying home and making lots more content. A lot more morning M+ streams and stuff like that too. Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. But sometimes, you know, you just lose out on the opportunity. Sometimes there is like no reason for it as well. Yeah. I wish I knew, right? You cast like 7 straight races with them, but sometimes, you know, shit just happens. What you doing, Willies? I was a little tilted and everything like that. But it was nice taking a break. I was definitely tilted for like, we were making like no progress. We had like a 4 or 5 hour M+ session, made like no progress. And a lot of times it's just like simple, silly mistakes and stuff. But taking a couple days, get myself caught up on all the M+ deadlines and stuff like that. Or the Wowhead deadlines helped a ton. So I still gotta get like 2 keys to like wrap up title. But I think this weekend will be good. What do I think of the Catalyst next tier? Oh, it's kind of weird. It definitely sucks for making guides, dude. It definitely sucks for making guides because you have to tell people like what piece to farm, and then you tell them to catalyze that piece to turn it into the stats you want, basically. It's very goofy. It's very, very goofy. Oracle Disc doesn't do as much healing as Void Weaver, but Void Weaver also does a ton of healing when you're immobile, you know, when you can stand still. Yeah, that is very goofy, Puddin. So, if you guys don't know, if you use a bonus coin roll on a heroic boss, if you use a bonus coin roll on a heroic boss next season, you get a mythic 1 out of 6 piece. So if your guild can kill heroic Ulatek pretty quick, you would not want to use you would not want to take anything out of your vault, and you would just want to spam. You would just want to spam coin rolls on Ulatek until you get all the mythic pieces there, and you just do that for the first 4 weeks. Yeah. So it's a very goofy movie when you're like, hey guys, don't take any gear out of your vault because these are all cantrip effects. Like this has an extra socket and it reduces your poison damage taken and it gives you more crit strike. This helm it's haste and gives you more haste. Apparently you cannot coin curios. We believe you cannot coin curios. You know? Yeah, you're basically just coining bis items, coining bis items, coining bis items. Pretty much. Pretty much. Let's do it. Temple of Sathralis. Thank you. I do think Shaman will be strong in raid. In fact, I think I underrated it in my tier list, Puddin. Because I forgot a very important thing about Resto Shaman. Is that there's a class talent here called Elemental Resistance, where your healing from Healing Stream Totem also reduces fire, frost, and nature damage taken by 6%. So, what's this new incoming raid? All nature damage. This is like effectively Devotion Aura for Resto Shamans. So in addition to giving Vigor, you know, the extra stamina, you're also having about as much mitigation as Devotion Aura is granting to your team. So Resto Shaman's gonna be real good. I think I underrated it in our latest tier list. It's in the description, Jacob, if you want the UI. So I'm kind of leaning more towards Shaman after that ward. Yeah. How many people have it up though? Well, you get a lot of totem healing, so it's very, very high. You can see the mitigations tab in Warcraft logs, and a former World First Raider was telling me about it. He's like, by the way, I think you forgot this. And I was like, oh shit, you're right. So, yeah. It's pretty high coverage. I can't tell you the exact target count or whatever. But it's pretty damn high. Yeah, but every single boss fight, Timmy, has these mechanics that do raw ticking damage the entire fight. Dreadful Presence. Malakras radiates a terrifying aura, inflicting shadow damage every 2 seconds to all players. And it's just up the entire fight. So you're always getting value from it. You're always getting damage reduction. So it's not even like you don't even need to rely on procs. You know, toxic fumes here. Twin Fang suffuse the air with toxic fumes, inflicting damage to all players every 2 seconds. That happens the entire fight. It is just a constant that you're getting the entire way. So it's pretty damn big. Love to see it. Demonkin, thanks so much for the prime. Shaman's too OP, it's time for nerfs. Listen, I didn't include it in the video, okay? So maybe they'll go under the radar. Never know. Make sure all my abilities work before I do this. Alright. Tier 7 bonus? Check. Talents? Check. Let's do it. Going well, Sark. And getting all caught up on all the deadlines and all the things, man. Time to game.
5,
Time to game.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow. The savior of the broken.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, nobody saw that. What's the abundance bug? Is that what people are talking about where stuff's doing, regrow's doing less healing than it ought to? Me too, Tree. Me too, man. Main for season 2? Oh, that's my video tomorrow. Be Priest for raid, and I think I'm probably gonna do Pally and Mistweaver as my alts. Wow, I got stunned. That's tough. I hope that it's gonna be... I really, really hope that it's going to be a, an Oracle raid season. Because, man, that Void Weaver healing profile is just, yeah. China's mega hype in Prez. Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, like, it does a bunch of damage and stuff. I also think it's kind of fake. Because it's like, especially early on in a season, I think the healer that like just brings the best output and also brings good raid buff, stuff like that, is super beneficial. And then late in the season, then you can really get into like the damage maxing windows, you know? That's also per totem deater. Yeah. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is at the beginning of the season, I really focus on raid first. So I'm gonna like push a lot of keys as Priest, and then make sure my Pally and probably, like I said, Monk are gonna be like really geared. And then when we hit like the 0.5 patch, I'll probably just make sure I have and play whatever's like Fodom. Yeah. I appreciate it, Slick. Yeah, it gets kind of interesting over the course of like PTR. I'm like, man, I haven't made a diss video in a while, and there's actually been a bunch of changes. So, Void Weaver Disc does a bunch of healing. But it's, again, it's one of those things that I want to emphasize that like it's good on paper, but that may mean that it's not that good in practice. In practice, when I did raid testing, I did more healing as Oracle. But I'd be doing everybody a disservice, right? If I didn't point out that, like, hey, the maximum potential of this thing is very high. So that's kind of where I'm at. Luckily, they have the same stats, so you don't really have to stress too much. So. I'll be doing like guides and stuff, Slick. Yeah, we're kind of in the season now where it's going to be getting all the guide content ready. Guide contents, and if there's any tier list updates. I've already got the Holy Priest guide recorded, and got my editor working on that, and then Disc One's going to follow. I don't know, maybe Shaman afterwards. But the goal is to get all of them. The goal is to get all of them. Pet battling and mountain farming? Not enough time in the day, man. The time I would spend pet battling, I go to pickleball practice. And druids do damage? They go in cat form and set up all their bleeds. Yeah. I think Pally Blood DK is like a really good comp right now, Tobias. Contradict the fact that you... What? What happened? What did I do?
Survive.
What happened? Did I wild charge it or something? Wait, but... I guess I wild charged it. Maybe it's the hovercast feature? I'm trying to understand because I hit the keybind I have for my healing wild charge. But I have a different bind for when I wild charge to an enemy. I don't know, maybe Ellesmere UI hovercast also works on his nameplates or something. I don't know. It's tough life. I use every part of Ellesmere UI except for the bags. Sorry, Ellesmere. I am a Baginator stan till I die. On live servers, I don't have the raid frame set up yet. And that's because the patch actually changes how the buff tracking works. So I have to export it after the patch hits. So basically when the patch hits on Tuesday, then I'll export it. Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to offer Dander's frames and Ellesmere frames side by side, Squid. I think I'm going to still use Dander's frames. But I'll just offer both options. They're going to look almost exactly the same. I still kind of love Dander's frames, not going to lie. I think Holy Priest just needs to get active mana regen tied to like maintaining Holy Fire or something like that. They can only reduce the cost of stuff by so much. I think now is the point that they just gotta like make it all about regenning mana. So if we get tuning Yanni, which we almost certainly will, I will do another dummy dome test. Yeah. I already let all the healer experts know that I want to do another one. So just gonna be a matter of when they do tuning. Yeah, I'm also very lazy on my tree, so the fact that Baginator has everything how I like it from the default, I'm like, perfect. Like, I'm almost certain I could probably set up Ellesmere bags to be how I want it, but I'm like, no, I got this. I got this exactly how I want it. I don't have Chatty-nator now. Guys, soon. For now, does anyone have a likely H-Priest M+ talent build? I do. And I actually just updated them on Wowhead. So what you can do, legally, is go to Wowhead and go to the talent build website itself, or the talent build page on the website. And then at the top of the page, there'll be a 12.1 PTR option. So I just updated all the builds last night. And so if you have the 12.1 selected, then you can go to the drop-down menu at the bottom of the talents, and then you can select the guide writer talent builds. Because basically what we do is we update it from the PTR version of the site, and then the second the patch goes live, it automatically updates. So basically you'll see the drop down, it'll say like Oracle M+ or Archon M+, and you'll know it's updated because it'll have a check mark next to it. So you'll like select it, and then next to the word Archon M+ or Oracle M+, it'll have a checkbox. So say to me. I can just, yeah, that's what I thought. My room so bright? I don't know. It's the afternoon. I don't have my room like a cave. Oh, you know what I want to get for my room? Now that you're just talking about this, I saw something where it's like a light that like mirrors or mimics like natural sunlight, and it looks like a skylight basically. I don't know when that's actually going to be available. Yeah, I will, Rosie. Probably tomorrow, maybe tonight, depending on who's around. But yeah. It's like the data text or something like that. Data text or something like that. 4221, let's go. Love to see it. Actually, I should not have done that. Don't take that. Man. CR is combat res. That's what Europeans call a battle res. Americans say battle res or brez. Later. Yeah, it's a cultural thing, you know. Europeans also will do like 1, 2, 3 for a summon. And like Americans have started doing that more. But most of the time we just do one. You know, we just do one for a summon. So. Let's prove them wrong. Damn, this damage hurts. You know what I should do? I should actually equip this trinket. There we go. I wonder if this actually works. I think it does. These ads jump out. No, it didn't work. Weird. Rest day today, Mr. Benny. How you doing? 07 is like a salute. Yeah. Very American thing. Europeans wouldn't know about a salute. Oh, these guys pipe. Yeah, still the gas saluting. It's the lore behind Priest not being able to spell poison. You ever watch that Dave Chappelle skit about the, what is it, the mail office or something like that? Like, why? Cause fuck them, that's why. Yeah, Harv knows. My man. Pop copy, that's what it is. Thank you, Dave. Yeah. Yeah, it's usually my leg day, too. It's usually my leg day as well, Danny. I just needed a breather. Well, actually, mainly because I didn't sleep well. Because my neighbor decided that it was a good idea to just, like, pace around his apartment at, like, 1 in the morning. And do that for an hour straight. So, I actually just didn't really sleep much. Was up on coke 100%? Probably. Probably. Dude is a fucking weirdo. What up, Osiris? Well, we don't have that. Oh, that we know, Perry. That we know. $200 ain't too shabby at all, Griffin. Let's go, dude. Just you were a lost cause? No, they just gotta like revert a couple nerfs, and I think they'll still be really, really good. So I don't know what's happening. You cursed us, YOLO. You cursed us.
I simply wish you had lasted a little longer.
I wish damage meters weren't so terrible so I could understand how people died. Yeah, I think this is gonna catch a nerf of some kind. I think so. When was my sweatiest arc or season of WoW since its creation? Battle for Azeroth. Definitely Battle for Azeroth. No, actually Shadowlands. Technically Shadowlands. BFA was the beginning of it, though. In BFA, I started raiding like 6 to 8 hours a day. And then in Shadowlands, I was raiding like 10 to 12. And the highest I finished was World 13th. Something like that. Yeah. It was Sanctum of Domination that was our best finish. There should be more balancing. I think after our I think after the testing we did, there definitely should be more balancing. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of split rating. A lot of split rating. So I was doing like mythic clears every week on Priest, Pally, Monk, and Shaman. That's when I really started getting into like multi-classing very heavily. It was like BFA into Shadowlands. Because we did so many splits and so many runs that we just needed to have people who could like, you have a lot of healers that could multi-spec, multi-class. And I hated making mirrors. I hated making like, I didn't want to make multiple priests or any of that kind of garbage, so I just didn't. Just didn't. No idea, Marius. No idea. Spirit Shell for 9 hours a day? No. But it was really fun hitting Spirit Shell, man. It was really, really fun. I'll tell you that. BFA made me? BFA made me into like a much, much better player. Yeah. Absolutely. What's your wife gonna think, Griffin? I could never. People were saying that earlier, Lothi. Did they say how much of a regrowth bug that they are experiencing? Or like how much it's nerfed? I'd be surprised if they just skipped Warlords entirely. Like, yeah, it wasn't super popular, obviously, but like, I feel like it also just messes with their plans and reduces their timetables a lot. Yeah. Oh, that's the thing, Jewel, is I had a blast healing with Spirit Shell, but it was so toxic for the game. 100%. So. I'm glad they're doing those, Kyle. I think the tuning roadmaps are really nice. She tried to make sure that you had the poop lettuce, Griffin? Damn. Pickleball has been really good this week. I've been switching up my, well, I was holding it wrong, but it was more comfortable for a while. I had like a higher grip. I was like, you know, I gotta actually just work on holding it right, because you get a much, much higher velocity and like a better top spin on it if you're holding near like the back of the handle and using more of like your shoulder to hit it. So I've spent the past couple days practicing with that, and it's actually gotten a lot better. I did, oh man, I actually body bagged the shit out of somebody when I was playing. But like, a body bag is when you hit somebody with the ball and you score a point from it. But he also tried to stuff me. He like ran right up to the net after he lofted the ball. So like, he was kind of in the way. But I body bagged the shit out of him. Yeah. He basically like lofted it up so high it landed in the kitchen, which is like right next to the net, and it bounced really high. So when it bounces like right next to the net, you can step up basically into the net and you can just power smash it into him. And that's what I did. Go play tennis? Maybe. You don't know. I'm having fun playing pickleball right now. Maybe I'll go back and play tennis. Yeah, because he lofted it, he also tried to just like get up to the line and stuff me so that I like couldn't take like a good angle on it or something, but I just hit it like as hard as I possibly could. And like, I think I got him in the knuckle. So. I don't think I have a name for the X-Boss profile art. I don't think I do. Oh, right. I forgot how this fight works. I haven't done it in a couple weeks. I think maybe because it's marked as default. I think maybe because it's just marked as default that it might be overriding or something along those lines. Yeah. I don't know if you can import it and then like make a copy and rename it or something like that. Paladin is very fun right now, Warren. It's very, very fun. Like, fight them. Yeah, choose between Dallas or Austin? Definitely Austin. Definitely Austin. We're in the middle of like a pretty decent housing recession in Austin. I don't know what it's like in Dallas, but I also know it's a lot more populated. Yeah, you gotta heal the last boss. You gotta heal the last boss. So you can just click like right on the frame, basically. You heal the last boss's Disc Priest? Ooh, good luck. A lot of Shadow Mend. A lot of Shadow Mend. Yeah. That's what we're working on today, Hobson. Seen a lot of negative things about Druid, so I'm just doing my 15 really as like a warm-up. Getting comfortable with it. It feels like Rejuve doesn't really do much. Regrowth only does something if I have clear casting. Yeah. This one. I don't know. Either. Yeah, you can lay on hands of boss. Yeah. Oh, I turned it off because I was recording Kafka. Good call, though. Thank you for reminding me. I was recording videos. Yeah. Oh, the fights. Oh, what, from Arizona to California, stop you in Houston? Yeah, I'm flying into LAX because it's a direct flight. Even though if I flew into John Wayne, it would be closer and all that. Oh, yeah, you're right. New Mexico. You know, same thing. The desert. The desert. My bad. How about Blinding Veil? John Wayne flights are more expensive than LAX. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's like a smaller airport and all that other nonsense. So it was like, it was cheaper, and I didn't have to do a direct, or it was cheaper and no layovers to go from Austin to LAX. So it's gonna suck having to do a longer Uber to get to Anaheim, but like it's still gonna be cheaper. It's still gonna be cheaper and faster than dealing with a layover. Yeah. No, we just got started, Alex. Just got started. You could penance the boss, but it doesn't really do much healing. It doesn't really do much. You're driving? Wait, from where? Seven hours. Honestly, I would kind of love to do a road trip with a couple other creators. It would be really fun. But we'd probably drive each other. Like, we'd probably drive everybody insane in whatever car that we were all in. Yeah. Holy Priest feels good in dungeons, Mark. The Veil. Holy Priest does a lot of healing in dungeons, but your survivability is terrible. It's terrible. Pick me up from the LAX? I don't think I'm gonna ask anybody to give me a free ride from LAX to Anaheim, dude. I appreciate it. That is generous as fuck, but that is a hell of a drive. That's a hell of a drive. Have they done Blinding Veil? Oh yeah, they've done Blinding Veil. So, let me do another dungeon, YOLO, and I'll update some thoughts, you know? Yeah. So many mages. I mean, I guess they were doing good damn. Did he die? I forget. No, he didn't really die. Let's get him again. Off to Blinding Veil. Yeah, the quality of life update is gonna be the biggest meme for druids, man. They're doing everything they can to make the quality of life just worse. I don't know who the druids pissed off at Blizzard, but it was somebody important. It was somebody important. Shaman is an alt. If Druid doesn't work out, I hope Shaman works. That's gonna be our next healer. That's gonna be our next guy. Oh yeah, let me set up logs as well. Now that we got our warm up.
A large attack only causes the light bloom to spread. A few striking the most dangerous. That is best.
Thanks, Gothic. Yeah, Shaman's always like a super safe, it's always a super safe one. Oh yeah. In combat, this feels like it doesn't vibe correctly. I don't know what I should do. How do I work this chat? Like maybe I don't anchor the raid frame at all, so it doesn't have to jump every time the class resource bar comes around. I don't know. Getting this issue where whenever I deploy that bar, it pushes everything down. And I don't really want to have it push. I want it to be like static, you know? Yeah. Ready, check. Totemic I think is overall better, Stelio. Yeah. Farseer's got some good single target healing, but I think overall Totemic's a better option. They keep on buffing Farseer, but it's still a little bit far out. Anchored to the utility, it'll grow instead of down when the energy bar comes in. No, I think it is anchored there already. Yeah, it's anchored to the utility bar right now. You put combo above CDM. That is a good idea. Yeah, that is a good idea. Yeah. So you would, I guess you'd anchor it, anchor to the cast bar. Oh, elements cannot be anchored to it. Hmm. Hmm. Not sure. I'll think about it some.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, the Void Blast spam. You're even ignoring Shadow or Death in Execute.
4,
You're even ignoring the Shadow or Death
2,
Execute if you can Void Blast. It's crazy.
A large attack
Yeah.
causes the light bloom to spread. A few striking the most dangerous. That is best.
That's right. Professional Resto Druid. Drew Barrymore. Yeah, see how it kind of overlaps in combat? This year looking good for M+. It's okay, but not great. Not meta by any means. So, you just left a blank space? Yeah. Maybe I'll, like, have that be the top spot or something like people were suggesting before, instead of anchoring it to anything. Wow. This guy pumps. Yeah, these Spore Blight Belchers are the ones that just, like, pipe. They do so much damage. Here's another wave. You did. Yeah. I gotta have, like, a bunch of rejuves out in advance of that. If I don't have Convoke ready. Oh, we got another one. All right, all right. Get my dots. Popping offensives. Interrupt that. Re-up that. I'm gonna start setting up more hots. And mash the redo button a million times. Wow, he got annihilated. Rip. Her boyfriend, you don't know. What's the world first comp? Double disc. Paladin. And I think I underrated Resto Shaman. I think I got fooled. I got bamboozled. And did not properly account for elemental resistance for Resto Shamans and all the DR that they're gonna bring to the table. I do think Prez is good. But also the DR. Your Sylvanas comp? I thought you didn't double disc. Yeah, I thought you want that was a double disc tier, but I don't think that you guys did. Yeah, because everybody else did, and you guys started the trend. Yeah. Yeah, because I think you guys didn't keep your like second disc or something like that going into the season. What DR does Shaman bring? It's called Elemental Resistance, and you can find it on the class tree for Shamans. And since so much of their healing is coming from their totems, when their totems are healing, it's applying a DR that is affecting nature damage. And since this incoming raid is like all nature damage, come on, Shaw, live, my boy. Well, he lived, but somebody else didn't. It's rough. He's too stoned. But yeah, I would say like there's also a pretty good chance that Disc is gonna get some nerfs. I mean, if they don't nerf Disc, then they're really asleep at the wheel. Oh, they are really fucking asleep at the wheel. Yeah, Double Disc was in the Ashara tier as well. It was very, very good there. It was like Battle Shaman and Disc Priests going crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you had a second person, Crystal. Yo, Mubundo. Thank you for the prime, man. I'm still getting used to it, yeah. I have not been playing much Druid. So I'm definitely rusty. I'm letting my life blooms drop. The chat was telling me that there's some kind of bug going on with Druids that is causing regrowth to do less healing than intended. So... yeah, it could be like Disc and Prez. It could be like Disc Prez, Holy Pally, Resto Shaman, or something like that, you know? Oh, I know, that's the thing, mate. Like, nobody can say that I'm sandbagging. Like, I've made enough content this season to show you that Disc is extremely, extremely powerful. So, if they don't nerf it, not because I sandbagged. Because they were straight up asleep. It's because they were straight up asleep. He's probably going to go into that one, so I'll go into this next one over here. So I just got to put hots on myself, Shah, and Magician. Yeah. Come on! It hurts so bad. Gade, thank you so much for the new sub, bro. Rise and fall. How much content creator sandbagging would even affect WoW balancing? They do make a lot of dumb decisions, feel like they have their own internal metrics. I don't know. I really wish I had a straight answer for you about it. But I think one thing I'm like pretty certain of is that the class designers on the WoW team are not like full-time class designers. They're not like just only focusing on class design at their job. They're also doing, I don't know, some kind of other shit. That I'm pretty certain of. And I'm also pretty certain that they don't really coordinate by role. They don't really like look at all of the healers together and talk to the other people who are doing tuning and then be like, oh, how would this thing relate to that thing and how should we tune those? I'm pretty convinced they don't do any of that nonsense. Man. Please live. Please live. There we go. Pally is so much fun to play, dude. I have so much fun with it. Wait, Dirty Dinker, do you play pickleball? I play pickleball. Oh, it's a CSGO reference? Oh. Oh, rip. Rip that guy. Did I not have my trinket up? I did. Okay, I just hit the wrong bind or something. It really is Plummet. I have so much fun with it, dude. I have so much fun with it. I ever pickled somebody? Yeah, I was doing, they were uploading our scores to Duper. And, I pickled this one team. They were like, it was like one of the early Duper games where people come in with like not much experience and stuff. So like I'd played a decent bit, a bunch of other people had played a decent bit, but there were like 2 or 3 people that it might have been like the first 5 times that they played the game. And I don't really know why they signed up for games that were like meant to be very competitive, but yeah, they got pickled. Me and my homie Sergio, we showed them no mercy. So, Cassell's dead, Unicorn. I do doubles, yeah, dude. I don't have the cardio yet for singles. Yeah, dude, my knees are killing me from pickleball. I've been trying to do what is it, hip abductor, one of those. One of those is supposed to help you a lot with your knees and like your lateral movement and everything like that. So they're getting better, but like I wanted to play like every day over the weekend, and my knees were just like screaming after 2 days. Like an old man here. Working on orthopedics, pickleball's been fucking up so many people. Yeah, I think I have a good idea as to like what muscles I gotta work on to fix the like deficiency and stuff. But yeah. Nah, one of my friends wants me to play paddle with him though. Apparently you can like hit the ball off the wall or something. It's very crazy. Yeah. Oh, it's Genesis. That's what it's tracking. I'm not going. President Mistweaver, pick one for you in M+. That's strange. I don't see Paladin listed there. Huh. Biggest injuries have been meniscus, calves, shoulders, and elbows. I had like tennis elbow for 1 week, but it went away pretty quick. Yeah, I think I had some kind of strain or whatever it was in my knee, because it definitely swelled up for like a week. It's like, it's been a month later and it's like very, very slightly swollen, but it's almost like you can't notice it. So I think it's mostly better. But I've just been wearing like a brace. One of the old men wearing the brace now. I'd probably say Mistweaver though. I had to pick one. But yeah, I like twisted my knee, poaching the ball from my partner. Like I was standing on the right side, and then I jumped in front of him to hit it at like an off angle, and we scored the point. But I felt it right afterwards. I was like, God damn it! So I took like a week off. It's gotten a lot better, but it's still like very, very slightly swollen. Yeah. Yeah, I want to talk to the Druid people and understand how much of a I want to actually like understand how much of a nerf or how much of a bug or whatever it is they're having. I don't know what was dealing damage to him. That was very strange. Holy fuck. Yeah. Damn.
Only
I got
the
wrecked.
strongest survive.
I got wrecked. Me too, Josh. Me too, man. The good old days. Let's see. Alright, we'll lock in. We'll focus up. I don't know, there's like no damage happening here. I don't understand. Nah, I think PTR testing is gonna continue into next week. Pretty sure. Oh, so it's the light crazed frenzy, I think, that's just pulsing the damage. Okay. I'm pretty sure they could eventually retreat out of that. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure you can. I don't know if they need a talent to make Vengeful Retreat remove a root effect or something like that. But I thought you could.
They can take us below, but swiftly. I would not expose them
Yeah.
to the light bloom long.
Yeah, I think so, Iju. I think so. The announcement like Blizzard made on their website was like, if the season ended today, here would be the cutoff. Yeah. It's still gonna go up. It's still going up though. Oh well, UT getting some Druid reps in. Apparently they fixed the regrowth bugs, so Druid just does this healing. It just does this healing. Oh, is Consume Flame still doing a lot more healing than intended? I feel like my mana compared to where it used to be for Druid is like miles worse. Miles and miles worse. Like, it's not Holy Priest level or anything, but it doesn't feel great. I'm like prepping. Yeah, now we're pulling. Okay, okay. I was prepping all the hots. I was getting ready for that pull. Lag? Big lag. Big lag. And he's dead. Just dodge, bro. Just dodge, man. Poor guy. Shit. Not in range. I was trying to wild charge it. Probably have one more round of AoE. I'm very scared of. Yeah, here it is. Got my bark. Spam the regrowths. Yeah. This was like okay for M+, but probably like 4th best healer or something like that, like middle of the pack. Yeah. Yeah, that's true with. I feel like the abundance change hurts the most. Oh no, damn. Thanks, Shah. Old tech. Oh. Oh man. Well, it's good to know. I swapped to DPS. Ooh, I don't know. This incoming season, I'd probably put like Blood DK. Yeah. I'd probably play like Blood DK the way it's looking this season. Well, now we know. No fun allowed. Yo, Moopster, thank you for the 4 months, man. But yeah, my first class is like a rogue. I don't think I doubt I would go back to play that. I played DK. Played all the specs of DK over the years. I really enjoyed playing Blood DK the most. Yeah. Nah, you can't stack the mechanic anymore. We just died to it, Cammy. Yeah. They put us down. Our druid feels like sluggish. That's kind of how I think of it. It was kind of sluggish. Alright, now I'm pretty sure I just have to heal forever. I think that's the strategy. Like, this is insane. Yeah, you're probably like dead, man. Maybe we'll bring it back. We'll see, we'll see. Oh, man. Holy shit, bro. We are doing it, baby. We are doing it. Oh, nice. We're going to get pulverizing strikes into a Grievous Thrash. That's going to be fun. Oh, no. Into Lightfire. W. Nice. We did it, chat.
His faith in the god
Oh, in dungeons, I think you'll have a fun time, Meeks. Yeah. Love to see it. UI, Sahane is the command for it. Yeah. Yeah, if I didn't have the Ritual Vessel, it would have been a little rough. That would have been a little rough. Ow. The Absorb Trinket did get nerfed earlier. It might get like, I don't know, 5-10% kind of nerf. Something that's like not heavy, you know? I can see that happening, but they want the trinket to be good. Like, they very much want it to be a good trinket. It is not an accident that it's high value, M+ focused, drops off the first boss. Yeah. Yeah, the title says we're playing PTR, Malk. I hate this town. So nice. You hate the healer trinkets? Litany and now this new one? But everybody, I feel like, has been asking for them. Huh. Probably Blood DK if I had to play something. If I couldn't heal, I'll just go play Blood DK. Yeah. Pally feels really good for everything, Braca. It's probably like the best overall healer. Yeah. Shadow Priest. No, I played Shadow Priest and Mythic Progression for 2 different tiers. I played it on the beginning of Legion and Emerald Nightmare and the Trial of Valor. And then I played it again. Oh no, and then I played it before then in Warlords of Draenor. And I progged. I got my first kill. There's even YouTube videos on it. There's proof. There's proof. On my YouTube channel. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm him. I did a Imperator Margok progression as a Shadow Priest. That shit stank. The gameplay was called dot weaving at the time. And you would mash the Mind Spike button, which removed your dots. It would take your dots off, and you would just mash that until you had all of your, God, what do you call them? Your shadow orbs. And then you'd put your shadow orbs onto a target and spam Mind Flay. And that was like the whole gameplay. It was very fucking stupid.
Your survival
Oh, we just died from full
wasn't
to a kick.
necessary.
Yeah. That's tough. Get some mana. People are running it on PTR and stuff plush, and it does a lot of damage. Surrounded to Madness, that was the one, mate. Yeah, I played that in Legion. Surrounded to Madness, Shadow Priest. Yeah. My raid leader was the other Shadow Priest, and he was like coaching me through it and stuff, and yeah, that was a nice nightmare. Oh, it was not fun. Oh, this rock line of sights you. That's fun. Dude, this rock. Okay, I'm gonna stand on top of the rock. People are LOSing me with it. Surely there's got to be some kind of exploit or something we can use with this rock. Okay, now everybody's on the same side, so we can hop down. Surely nobody will find a special way to be somewhere else. Surely, surely. The eye level jump is... You're not going to replace like greens or purples with greens or anything, but you're getting a lot more HP. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, M0s are going to be giga for gearing. Ooh. Oh, I interrupted it the last possible second. Let's fucking go. Got my trinket. All right. Yeah, Prez does a ton of healing. And it's very likely you could see it in like World First and race and everything like that. It's very, very possible. I don't know what the M0 lockouts are looking like. Don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a weekly lockout. You know how Blizzard is with fun. Yeah, fun detected. Yeah. This is not a test. Hmm. I'm like,
Only
what?
the strongest survive.
Oh, it's a cast. We're just not kicking shit. Christian title and disc even realistic? Only if you have like a really, really good group of other meta specs to push with you, which for me is not realistic. So I'm just doing it on Monk. Yeah. With the way that Resil keys have kind of changed everything, I think it's made it a lot harder to push for title on off meta. I mean, 12-1, we don't really know, honestly. Because like the big thing is the meta never really gets like set in stone until we get the 0.5 patch. So like a spec could be like meh right now, and then it becomes meta later, you know? Holy fuck. God, regrowth is fucking nothing, dude. I also did not get full mana before this started. It's unfortunate. Casts. It's literally just casts going off that are just killing people. You're having to spam regrowth. It just doesn't really do much healing. Yeah. Yeah, just rip Convoke then. I think this is where we all die. Yeah, this is where we all die. Yeah.
I simply wish you had lasted a little longer.
Have you on how much behind an M plus player will be if they don't raid into the guild? I mean, if you want to get the 0.1% or something like that, if you want to get the 0.1%, then you're gonna have to raid, or you should be raiding, kind of thing. Yeah, GG. Shaw's done with it. I feel like regrowth doesn't do diddly squat. I definitely didn't have full mana there, and we're like letting a lot of fucking casts go off, but I definitely feel like my healing fucking blows compared to a lot of other healers. If it has monk today, maybe. I'm gonna do like one more druid key, and then is it altar or void scar? Yeah, let's do altar. Yeah, let's do altar. I think I'm talented into abundance. I ripped talents from Vickman. And he was doing some stuff. Oh, he wasn't even running it. Is that right? There's a log I pulled. Yeah, this is an 18 murder row that he did that I was looking at earlier. That he wasn't running with it. This is like, if you look at the logs, I'll show you real quick. Bro, if you look at the logs, man, the amount of like August logs, there's like a handful. None. These are all July. One. There are like nobody playing Druid. But this is what I pulled right here. Yeah. I mean, I'm down to try it. I'm down to try it. I was just running what he was running. I don't know. What do I just take 1 point in it? Thriving isn't that big? Yeah. What else should I be running here, chat? What else should I be running? A Mistweaver. Maybe a little later. Isn't what prosperity the like double swift mend? Yeah. Definitely run an innervate. +1 on that one. Good comms. Good comms that one. I want some mana. Hmm. I don't think I could drop stuff like that. Yeah, it has to be down here. I guess it'd be Ursine Vigor, right? Dude, it's crazy, Kig. It's crazy. I tuned in to some streams yesterday, and every single streamer I saw was playing Brez. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna get that guy. I know, dude. Gotta get on it. Yo, what a big plant. Apparently all the bugs and stuff like that were fixed. Apparently. Usually, like, a month into the season or something like that, case when they put out those rewards. I hope that they bump it up earlier. I hope that they do it up earlier. Call the RDruid. I saw a Chinese log doing it, and he had like 15% of his healing or something like that from it, with Call and like Dream of Cenarius and stuff. But I'm not that confident with my Druid play to take a bunch of talent points and slap them into damage to healing. I'll be honest. I'm not that comfortable with it. So, yeah, you can do that easily, Nop. I'll show you real quick. Go to your hovercast. I have it on my regrowth because it's a left click. And then you just enable dynamic res right here. It's all mages. It's all mages. Yeah. Yeah, so you can set it to like any keybind you want, but I personally just set it to the left click there. I would invite mages if they would stop pulling stuff. It's a trade offer. He said nature's bounty and prosperity. Okay. Guess I can drop thriving. I messaged Vrokus. I'm asking him right now. He said drop life flow mastery. Okay, so he confirmed it, and he wants both thriving vegetations. I drop abundance. Or verdancy. Big warlock. Who has done the dungeon on the character? Nobody. I'm messaging Brocus. He's on his phone. He's giving us build advice. Draw verdancy for second thriving vegetation, but I'm not 100% on that. Okay. Finally reached 3.8k for Rio in 2 weeks. Let's go, Orc. Congrats, man. No regen, Heartwood. Oh, that's the Ironbark talent? Oh, regenerative. Oh, I see. Oh, point too many in the middle section. Oh, I do, yeah. I do, yeah. I would take a talent point out of the middle. Is it Wild Synthesis I would drop? That's gonna be my guess. That's gonna be my guess. What up, Blakey? This is so many. They got all that stuff. Yeah, I'll drop the tree and Swan. Okay. Three times more talents than what you have? Yeah. Paladins have been kind of starved. Yeah. What's more fun, H-Pal or Druid? Or H-Pal. What am I saying? H-Pal. H-Pal strong, dude. Strong like mountain. Eh, dude. You hit button, health bars explode. Hit button, health bars explode. Shit's great. Yeah. All right.
Can I help you? Very well then. Hey, how you doing?
Altar of Fangs. I'm gonna offer both, Clippy. I think I'm personally gonna use Danders, but I'm gonna make profiles for both and have them both in the UI so people can kind of pick and choose. So, ECP is Eco Cooldown Planner, and it is a new add-on I've been playing around with, and I haven't really set it up for RDruid. But it's basically like, you know, the world first raiders and how they set up like their cooldowns and stuff on boss fights and they have alerts and shit. It's that, but for dungeons. So. Yeah. So you can be like, I want to use... Oh, I gotta make a new variant. New variant, Big Joe's Crab Shack for Restoration Druid. Run in Convoke on a 1 minute. And I don't know, that and that. Bam. It's magicians. And then you can be like, hey, for, I don't know, Zul'Jan. Ritual, I will convoke. Oh, let's go, Illuminos. Thank you, King. It's a 1 minute cooldown, so just convoke every fucking time. Convoke every fucking time, right? Like, bam, I got cooldown assignments, you know? And then where's the... I guess the one in between, I could just like ritual vessel, you know? And so if I try to ritual vessel again, it's like, hey, it's still on cooldown. I don't know how you can share it with other people, but it's just for you, I think. Yeah, you'd like to know that, wouldn't you, Vorky? Yeah. You'd like to know about that. Welcome. No, I don't know if it has it for raid. I've been using method raid tools for my reminders and stuff like that, but I think it's just for M+. I think it's just for M+. He's saying, how do you run dormancy? Oh, for the increased duration and stuff. Druid, yeah. Well, all the druids got opinions on druid stuff, so I'm DMing Brocus, and he's giving me a different build to try out. Elder Druid, stop! I'm not that comfortable with playing Druid, man. Testus Doom on my priest? Facts. Listen, man, yeah, I suck on Druid, okay? I can't be running Call the Elder Druid and just doing damage to heal. In this economy? Maybe Shaw does. Latest video. Bam, right there. Latest vid. It's a big old atonement problem. Let's see. HPAL yet? A bunch of times, yeah. Bunch of times. All right, ready? Check. Server shut down. All right.
5, 4.
Server shut down in 15 minutes. We're running it until the server shut down.
5, 4, 3.
HPAL is really, really strong, Victor.
1.
Might be tuning, yeah. Could be. Listen, it's not me, okay? Shaw said no mages. He said no blue men. Holy fuck, man. Good night.
Only the strongest.
Hey, if you kite, they drop the enraged stacks. Well, Shaw just needs a kite. He just needs to kite that. already set. Was Boomy popping off? I wasn't even looking. I was just staring at the health bar. Oh yeah, he was piping. Was fun. Healers PTR Paladin. I like Paladin's really, really fun.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Totem change. You no longer include one of the sizes of the first Lust Bowl? Don't know.
4,
I'm not sure about the route stuff yet.
2, 1.
Tier list offs on YouTube. Oh, whoops. All right. Oh.
I simply wish you had lasted a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. How much verse do I have? 4%.
5,
5%.
3, 2, 1.
Wait, is it pulsing for damage and you just can't like line of sight it, or see, can I even click it in combat or no? Nope. Not in combat. Damn, you gotta deal with all of that damage? It's crazy. Oh, man. Of our dying days. Yeah, the damage isn't like insane, but like when you have that in addition to the absorbs, it's pretty nuts. Yeah. Chat, are we blasted? We're kind of blasted healing. Push. Holy. This build feels better. This build feels a lot better. I should if. I should. All right, doing absolute zero deeps. We're getting there. I feel like I'm most comfortable with. I think Pally is like the peak right now. Maybe everyone's playing Prez because they want Prez to get nerfed and not Paladin. Which, like, you know what? I'm all here for. They do a little switch up on people. Oh, I see where the button is. I changed my own keybind. These ads in Rage, the more like uptime that they have. So I'll cleanse one right here. But basically, the more attacks that they get on the tank, the more damage they deal. So if you like push, it'll drop the stacks. But he's also like, he has cooldowns running. So it'll look kind of scary because he has like lots of stagger and stuff. But there's like a sweet spot where like, you know, you can stay in, keep on doing damage. Dude, Rokus, the servers are about to go down. But we were doing some like 400k healing pulls. We are cranking. Thank you for the help. Do these guys have... They might. Yeah, here comes the healing absorb. I think 400 is good. I'm gonna just say that it's good. Nobody died. That's the most important thing.
Chip giggity.
Oh yeah, I really should have put these shields in advance. You're gonna live. No! Yeah, I should have put those shields earlier. Okay, we're chilling. What up, Matt? Yo, nuts! Thank you for the 69 months, man. Oh, we have a minute 30. Go, 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 go. Trying to get mana. Trying to get mana. No! The carry on, don't mind me. Man, it sucks we're not gonna have a full log of this. But I do feel like I can actually just kind of leave the tank alone a lot with... Yeah, server shutdown. I feel like I can actually leave the tank alone a lot with prosperity and just constantly cranking. Yeah. Yeah, I felt a lot better very dead. Yeah. Any damage? I'm not that comfortable with doing the damage right now because I'm just trying to make sure I heal correctly. But I think that even like the good druid players who are actually doing damage, it's kind of like mediocre levels of damage, you know? Yeah, I was doing a lot of healing though. I was doing a lot of healing. Maybe tuning now? I don't know. Doesn't know if they do like a reset. So the servers are down right now. Yeah. So we'll see. Sometimes they come up quick, sometimes not.
What has happened?
Yo, Matt, they were the 10 months, man. I'd expect there to be tuning right now. I'd expect there to be tuning right now. Yeah. We'll give it a little bit. And we'll see if, like, servers come back or there's an announcement or something like that. I know, I'm watching Wowhead right now. Nothing pushed on a Friday. That's asked for trouble. You're gonna get weekend feedback from the players. Push Thursday. There's a lot of ways that they could be doing PTR in general better. I think there's a lot of different ways that they could do it better. Yeah, what can you do? It'd be great if they had like very consistent kind of tuning. Yeah. It's probably just like a tuning patch coming around to Mare. It's probably just like a tuning patch. Monk nerfs. What else could they nerf? What else could they nerf for Monk? Honestly, they killed off the caster setup. They killed off spin to win. I mean, even just mashing Rising Sun kick with lots of mastery doesn't do much. It does a lot of damage. Chat, do you guys want to watch this Eisen video? This guy always has some healer takes. Some of the healer takes of all time. I was expecting a Windwalker. I did hear that Windwalker's good. Here, let me run to the bathroom real fast, and then we'll watch this. Dummy Dome Disaster PTR Healer Testing Overreactions Explained. This will be good. All right, let me run to the bathroom real fast. One sec. Alrighty. Sounds like clickbait. Oh yeah, I think this video is gonna be one of the videos of all time. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Dungeon tuning. Let's see that real fast. Let's see that real fast. Alter. Fang empowered, periodic damage, removed a primal serpent, Melidrusa, faster abilities, more HP, less HP. Timer reduced for Temple of Sethralus, oh boy. Reduce time to soak. Yeah, you have to jump on the balls really, really fast. Boost the initial healing to 2% of the avatar's max HP. Increase the time between periodic ticks. Oh, you're getting less healing from your party helping you, and the healer's gonna have to heal more. Yeah. Dude, I want dungeons to be like 20-minute timers. I would love to have 20-minute timers for dungeons. I'm tired of the 30-minute dungeons. Yeah. Trying to get somebody to focus for 30 minutes is just impossible. Yep. I know the closer they get it to Fellowship, the better, honestly. Honestly. Like, that'd be my preference to make it like 15 minutes. That would be my preference. We have a bigger problem with keys? We do. We do indeed. Alright, let's listen to this guy before I get sick of it.
It has been an interesting social experiment to witness. We have waited a bit before reporting on these findings because, you know, right after this event happened, we were ready to talk about it, but the reactions from the community made it very entertaining to stay and just watch what was going down based on what happened a week ago. So what we're talking about, very simply, is that in the PTR, a group of notable members of class Discords, some of them theory crafters, some of them streamers, got together to try to see how much you could heal in the raid, but the raid testing is over. Plus, you also have to do mechanics doing raid testing, and most of raid testing was lasting a couple of minutes on the harder bosses. So how do we do this? You do this by going into the Dummy Dome, which is the feature system that we have also covered in the PTR, which allows you to test your stuff. Now, obviously, testing stuff in here as a healer, especially when you're by yourself, is quite pointless. You know, you show up, you ask the NPC to fight the healing target dummy, and what this target dummy is going to do is, as soon as you enter combat, the target dummy is going to self-destruct, essentially in 5 minutes. But during those 5 minutes, it's going to put on you an aura, which will be doing damage over time, and it will continue to ramp up until, you know, either you're dead or you're healed through all of the 5 minutes. Obviously, in single target, by yourself, this doesn't do much, doesn't help you much. At best, you could use it to test your frames or something, but that's it. However, to scale it higher, this group of players got in together as a complete raid, which we will keep their anonymity for. This is the result. You get a bunch of friends to stay in there AFK, and then you let the 4 to 5 healers in the group pretend they are raid healing. Obviously, there are many asterisks you could point out. The fact that this is just constant growing rot damage, there are no burst windows, so there's no room for very valuable CDs. The fact that the entire group is stacked together, so certain healers that can be punished more for spread fights like Resto Shaman or Preservation Evoker still gain full value in healing. And that's when the funny reactions came. Because when this test was done, you had dozens of different, attempts at these logs. The result was that you had around 4 specs doing fine. It was hard to point out who was doing better, who was the best one out of all of them. But in general, you had Resto Shaman, you had Holy Paladin, you had Discipline Priest, and you had Preservation Evoker, all doing fine enough that you could find one of them or the other doing very good healing, right, across the different pools. What obviously created most discussion, because this was also the most expected thing, those 4 specs, the ones that were doing the better. The larger discussion, though, came from the bottom 2. Mistweaver and RDruid, because it was clear from the testing that these two specs were doing several dozens of percentage points of healing less than all of the others.
Oh,
Quite,
he picked the
you know,
pull.
quite
He picked the pull where he like 6 healing it.
consistently, quite unmistakably. You know, we're talking about this one, for example, is like a 50% less healing than the third best healer. And this was consistent throughout the testing, especially for Mistweaver, but also over time for RDruid as well. So obviously this created this general panic, especially for those two specs. So we are here to point out some asterisks, just as an explanation for the next season, especially the one regarding RDruid, which we think is nowhere near as weak as this is being pointed out. Now, for the case of Mistweaver Monk, okay, fine. Mistweaver Monk is much weaker. We have actually covered Mistweaver already a few.
This guy always does videos. I don't know if you guys ever see the spreadsheets that Champs puts out. No, he usually like takes these spreadsheets. I'll show you real quick. I'll find it. That Champs makes every season, where like it summarizes the like 90 seconds or so of a boss combat or something like that. And he's usually like, this spec's doing great. And like, you get to see the 90 seconds. But
for the case of Mistweaver Monk, okay, fine. Mistweaver Monk is much weaker. We have actually covered Mistweaver already a few times, what happened to them, the nerfs over the course of the 2 seasons. But what is perhaps worth mentioning as an asterisk is that the state in which the Monk player, the unnamed Monk player showed up here was much worse than the state of the other healers. You know, starting even just from the eye test of the item level, you know, 335, 333, 335, 329. This dummy dome
like, you're not gonna have this much of a difference in healing by 6 item levels.
doesn't scale you down in item level, just like Mythic Plus testing or raid testing do. In here, you get your full power. Everything you have equipped is what you actually have in this testing. So the Monk showed up with, 0 gems, half your enchants missing, very poor gear, like gladiator gear with 700 versatility. You are supposed to be 330 plus item.
Okay, not really gonna be anything new. Yeah. Is Discord down for you guys? Maybe Discord's just down for me. I'm just trying to reload something on Discord. Let's watch Tails' video. Yeah. Maybe just my internet or something.
What's
I
up,
don't know.
everybody? Today I have...
He's got a tie! Let's go. He set up the video to talk about drama and then spoke about no drama for 5 minutes.
Pleasure to do an interview with Andrew D'Souza and Taylor Sanders to talk about everything. These are 2 lead encounter designers on the World of Warcraft team, so they make the content that my entire YouTube channel is based off of. And so without further ado, let's jump into the interview. All right, today I have had the utmost pleasure to be joined by Andrew D'Souza and Taylor Sanders. They are both lead encounter designers. And before we get into the interview, I have a question for each of you. We'll start with Drew. What is your favorite thing that you've designed in World of Warcraft? Can be past, can be present, can be maybe future, but...
I fucking love Tettles, man. The balls to be like, hey, if you want to talk about any future thing that you're excited that you designed, just let us know. Look at his fucking face. He knows it too.
I have a lot. I had a lot of fun making a couple of specific. I made a lot of stuff. I've been on the WoW team for quite a while. Going way back, actually, I was the designer that worked on the Mechatork encounter. I had a lot of fun making that. That was a lot of fun watching people solve that. I also rated Mythic at the time, so I know, the whole final lap of Mario Kart music playing in my head while people were,
baby,
trying to solve that. It was just fun to watch people play. A lot of funny clips of yourself even progging that one.
Just a quick question. What was the deal with the overlap where the Buster shot was going out as you were supposed to be hiding?
The boss died, you figured it out.
Okay. Well.
And then if I'll share anything else, I'm sure folks feel mixed about these sorts of things, but back when we were doing seasonal affixes a little bit more often, I was a big fan of how Encrypted came out. Just the way that got to play in the high end. I was excited to see how people sort of broke the game for a little bit with that one.
Cool. And Taylor, what's some of your favorite stuff that you designed over the years?
Yeah, I'll say a couple things. First thing I did when I joined the WoW team was design like outdoor creatures and Nagitar, and that's like just a special place in my heart because it was like when I was learning to make
Yes.
the game and like just kind of it was a really cool zone in my opinion. Had like a huge variety of different stuff, and
If you guys don't know this clip, this is
sort of like
Lorgox.
yeah, I'll say a couple things. Game and
is Lorgox, who used to raid in Echo or Method, whichever, and he sat here trying to do the line puzzle for like 20 minutes. He was doing this for like 20 minutes. It was amazing.
like just kind of it was a really cool zone in my opinion.
Oh,
Had like a
man.
huge variety
I'll
of
never
different
forget
stuff,
that.
and I kind of got to like just like learn how to make monsters and make those really
That's
fun
right,
and
Twitch.
interesting. And then Drew and I actually both worked a bunch on Castle Nathria, something a little more recent.
Banger,
and
banger.
did a lot of encounter work in there, and the vibe of that raid was just immaculate. Like
We did like half the raid. Tell
yeah.
the bosses.
Oh my god.
Wait,
Goated
really?
raid.
Cool,
Literally a goated raid.
Holy shit, these look
A
the
lot of
MVPs.
cool like vampire stuff in there, obviously, and it's just like really dripping with like fantasy and aesthetic, and like tons of just it's one of those like themes and ideas that sort of like designs itself because it's just dripping with all that WoW fantasy. So yeah, it was really cool.
Okay. Talking about patch 12.1 Curse of Ulatek for a little bit. I'm gonna take some time to actually start with one of the new things for patch 12.1, the lair boss, which whenever it was first presented, it seems like for the community it was pitched as like a world boss meets like a delve menu. But as we've seen, it seems to be more similar to Chimeras or Rotmire, actually, I think is probably the closest conduit. What is the overall intent and direction for the lair boss? Is that supposed to be like an introductory raid for people who are getting AOTC to like, dip their toe in? Or like, what is the actual intent for this?
Yeah, so the new lair, it's called Tidebound Grotto, one boss raid instance, and I think it's going to depend a lot actually on what difficulty you tackle it at. It's going to feel like that first description you gave, if you tackle it on world difficulty. We really want this to be like a reimagining of world bosses, where you have a little bit more like a higher quality experience than maybe like jumping. We've all had the experience of like jumping through the group finder. You join a group that's disbanding, like you join a group and the boss is at 2% HP. Like that's not a great world boss experience. So we went back to the drawing board to sort of reimagine this. World difficulty is what we came up with. So we want players to be able to jump into that difficulty, quickly have a group formed around them. And so we kind of want to take that work and that frustration of trying to find a group through the UI and do that for you. So world difficulty is going to feel a lot like that. We hope that's very seamless, very quick, and players can get in and out of the action in a way that they're familiar with world bosses from the past. But that being said, as you said, it's also launching in Flex Mythic difficulty. So I think for players who are very competitive, Mythic Plus players or Mythic Raiders, our general competitive PvE audience, it's going to feel a lot more like Sportfall, right? Because you're going to be engaging with it on Heroic and potentially even Flex Mythic. One thing we've liked a lot about Sportfall is its ability to act as a sort of stepping stone for players or play groups or guilds rather that have maybe don't have the perfect roster of 20 players or like a bench they can pull from every night. And it's been a cool way for those groups to feel like they can dip their toe into Mythic raiding, maybe aspire to that one day, right? Think about like what their guild or their play group is really capable of. So for Flex Mythic difficulty in particular, we want it to feel a lot like Sportfall.
Yeah, it's an interview Tettles just posted less than an hour ago with a bunch of encounter designers. So we're checking it out. We're waiting for servers to maybe come around, tuning to maybe come around. Discord is like down. So
next question I guess I have is this something that that's likely to be reproduced for a full-size raid, or do you think it's going to be something that's almost exclusive with like the flex size? Because I think that's been like a really common community sentiment is discussing raid size.
Yeah, so we don't see this as necessarily a replacement right now for Mythic difficulty, like the traditional fixed raid format that we're all familiar with from past iterations. We still think there's a lot.
We're waiting to see if we get any healer tuning tonight, Moshtaba.
Of value in a fixed raid, difficulty in World of Warcraft. It allows us as designers to design very bespoke challenges. We know how many bodies are in the raid, how many debuffs are going out. We know exactly how much CC you have available to you in a 20-person raid. We often know very closely what types of classes you're going to bring, right? So all of that allows us to design very bespoke challenges. So we still think fixed size rating is really important, especially at the very high competitive end of the game. That being said, Flex Mythic I think has a spot, and we're still determining the right balance as we go forward, especially like with community feedback from Cursive Lulatech, what the right balance is between Flex Mythic and traditional fixed size Mythic rating.
Sure. Jumping to 12.1.5, I know 12.1 hasn't come out, but we know from the roadmap that in 12.1.5 there's going to be an additional raid boss in some capacity. Is this going to be something that's kind of similar in scope to the Tidebound Grotto and Sporefall, or is it going to be like, and you know, you guys are pushing the envelope even more with potentially unique challenges?
Yeah, so the Tidebound Grotto is really meant to be almost like a side adventure, a little bit of breakup, right, from what's going on in the Venomous Abyss. No spoilers yet, but the 12.1.5 raid that we have is not that, right? It is a mainline event that's coming, you know, in our main story. And I'm not.
Chad, did you just hear this? Tettles, he's doing great, man. Tettles is instantly getting spoilers for next patch. So you know how Sporefall was this flex rate difficulty stuff, right? People killed it on day one, pretty chilled, you know, they got it, right? They just said it's not going to be a flex rate difficulty. It could be something really difficult. Could be.
I'm not going to say much more about it, but you know, it's not a side adventure. So players can expect a little bit more focus on it, a little bit more, a higher level of difficulty. And yeah, we can't wait for people to get their hands on it.
Shit's going to be hard.
Love to hear that. All right, jumping into Mythic Plus a little bit.
A 12.1.5 race to world first, perhaps.
Because that's one of the things that I love in this game. I feel like Mythic Plus really changed the game since it was added in Legion. One of the first questions I have is during Season 1 of Midnight, we actually saw one of the most popular seasons in regards to dungeons run, but also kind of community sentiment about how people felt about the season. What do you think are the keys to the success in the most recent seasons that we've been seeing?
Yeah, I would point at like number one being accessibility, but I think there's a couple of like sub points to that, right? Like one was with, you know, some of the design decisions we had to consider in a world where people had less add-ons at their disposal, right? We had to design things with more pacing, less visual noise. Like it really forced our hand, so to speak, to like narrow the gap between what would have been, you know, a high-end player that has an add-on package and like someone who's just like popping into the game. So I think on one hand, it's like some of the design decisions we've changed, like our philosophy on how like casters work, some of the interrupt updates, our general approach to just like tuning and design here with like the way our cadence has been on like beta and PTR, you know, leveraging spawning, that sort of thing. Additionally, I think it's just a solid dungeon pool overall. I think we had a pretty good mix. Folks seem to all have a favorite. There's nothing that's too particular. You know, we're not hearing too much grumbling about anything in particular. Like Pittis Ron, we thought came out pretty cool.
That was a good one.
Love Pitt. Love Pitt. They did a great job with Pitt. I was like very worried that Pitt was going to suck when they announced it, and Pitt turned out to be my favorite dungeon.
And then, you know, I think this is always in the eye of the beholder, but the class updates for a lot of folks, I think people are really enjoying multi-specking, playing alts, just in general having a good time this season.
Yeah. Something that was also a little bit of a shot in the arm for Mythic Plus was actually kind of something that happened in the middle of the season where there was 2 additions to achievement-based progression for players with the Umbral Champion and the Keystone Myth saddles, so the 1% reward in the saddles. What was the thought process like for dropping these in the middle of the season? Because I feel like that was something that almost reinvigorated the player base where you were giving the I would describe them as almost like mid-core audience, like really something to push for with the 1% achievements. But then the 3400 as well is if you do it early in the season, you know, the more hardcore player base is going to really strive for that. But if you also get it later in the season, it's still like a fantastic reward for some of these players.
Yeah. So breaking those into 2 parts, the top 1% reward is something we had wanted to do for a long time. And we're always looking for opportunities to like inject more rewards or more milestones. Like that's what Mythic Plus is really all about, right? It's like pushing your character, pushing your comp, your knowledge of a dungeon. And with the first 10 levels being so accessible, like that time, like we knew there was an appetite for that. Like people were ready to jump in, push their characters. You know, I had people in my circle, like anecdotally, even like, I want to go further. I want to keep going. And it felt like the right time to inject those.
So I've spent a ton of time on the 12.1 PTR. I feel like the extreme negative sentiment towards some of the dungeons was, I would describe it as a bit overblown. Do you think that the communication...
Bro, I'm sure the devs, as they laugh at that, are like, wow, really? You're telling me World of Warcraft players overreact to stuff? Huh.
Towards these dungeon changes helped, because you guys released a massive blue post trying to talk about the changes that were going to be happening to like Murder Row and Den of Nalarak, and the King's Rest, I think, was one that also got a lot of attention in regards to that blue post. And also kind of talking about retooling old dungeons. What goes into retooling old dungeons to make them more modern? Because I think that that's been one of the biggest changes for Mythic Plus over the last couple of expansions.
Yeah, it's a really good question. On communication, I agree that's something that I'd like to see us continue going forward, and maybe even earlier in the process as we're announcing the dungeon pool. Like we outlined in that post, right? Like we're thinking about a lot of these elements of the dungeons well in advance before we start, right? Like we did not announce the dungeons and then within this week between that and the post make all these updates, right? Like talking a little bit about how we pull these in before we we'll identify the dungeon pool like we called out, and that might be like where we're going, different damage profiles or gameplay profiles we want, themes, motifs, right? Things that fit within a season. But once we have that selected, we even with like the launch dungeons, once they've kind of been like taken in by like the Mythic Plus team that sort of handles balance to have that parity across all 8. We're talking to people on the team, people that we know that we play the game with, what their experience was like back in the day, looking up old feedback threads. We're playing ourselves, sort of marking things up, what didn't hold up, what were like unique elements that we want to preserve or at least keep the spirit of in a dungeon. And then from there, it's like every creature gets a review, everything gets balanced. We're kind of like reimagining every step of the dungeon. And our goal ultimately, like I think with Pit is an example I always use, like you're not really sure what changed. You think it was always that way. Like I remember somebody like, I remember this back in Wrath. I was like, that was absolutely not there in Wrath. And that's kind of the goal, was like, it still feels like the dungeon you remember, but it's been modernized. It feels fresh, but like the soul is still there, right? And then, yeah, obviously our PTR process has also been pretty involved, and we've made some changes to that over the last few seasons. Like I think something that was successful was sort of batching our testing weeks. Whereas opposed to, we would see data where it's like, there's 1,000 runs in this dungeon because you just want to test whatever. Sort of like having players segmented into 4 dungeons at a time allowed us to do like heavier iteration and come back with like change logs the way you guys have seen now.
Do you think that batching has actually, because I think that something that happened was whenever the dungeons were brought back, like old dungeons were brought back originally, I can think of like Grimrill Depot and Iron Docks, they weren't really changed too much, but now you get like almost brand new dungeons in a way. Do you think that batching is part of the reason?
I think the spike damage stuff that you guys are talking about is like, it's very true. There's certain things that like they take a lot of communication on, and there's other things that they don't, because what happens is by the time that they ask for feedback, they have like a really narrow view of like what they want feedback on. So you'll have some dungeons that like, yeah, they do have like a lot of spike damage. I think they've done a better job recently with it. But like, somebody was talking, actually, a good example of this is the class pruning. I think a lot of people at this point are like, hey, class pruning went too far for, my spec or other specs. Wish they wouldn't do it. Wish they'd add this ability back. And people were saying this in the beginning, It's not like they were not correct at the beginning. It's that Blizzard was really only looking for feedback on the final product of the pruning. And they weren't really going to do these like, we're going to add all these abilities back, And so a lot of times when they look for feedback, they look for it on like very specific things. And so like whenever I make videos, I'm like, yeah, it'd be nice if we had like this thing back. I remember talking about like Shaman of like, hey, it feels like really over pruned. But like they're also at the same time not going to just like insta revert things in one patch. A lot of times like it has to take a while and go through the entire cycle, which is annoying. But yeah. Yeah, Pally's kit. I mean, a lot of healers kits I think are also like really poor. Disc is a good example as well, where like they're high performing, but their spec tree is like filled with a bunch of like dead talents or like zombie talents that are like barely worth taking. There's a bunch of those right now. I think Shaman's a safer bet, Venom. Yeah. And Bartek, I'd agree with what Skill said. Voidweaver is really good on paper. And so it's kind of like you'd recommend people to start doing that because it's harder to play. And then if it turns out that the movement or whatever mechanics are going on are a pain in the ass, then Oracle's not only easier to play, runs the same stat prio, same general gameplay, but like your atonements last longer, so it's easier. you know? Oh yeah, Link, absolutely, man. Cool, Holy Pally. It's probably gonna be like my primary alt, I think.
That's been happening.
Yeah.
It's been easier. It's made it easier for us to sort of like collect feedback.
Yeah.
And digest, and like, and in terms of like for folks that might be following the PTR, sort of digest the changes, right? When 8 dungeons are getting little tweaks here and there based on data, PTR over PTR, it's harder to kind of notice what changed, but we can sort of like take the time, make significant changes if we need to, and then like communicate those out.
So renewed.
Talk about the dungeons that we're seeing in 12.1. I would say one of the big emphases that I've seen personally is that there's a lot more straightforward routes that you're facing in the dungeons. Yeah, like King's Rest and Temple and Ruby all having, and even Void Scar Arena, all having fairly straightforward routes. Is this and Lindormi's guidance being like an intentional decision by the team, or is it more just like a byproduct of like the dungeons that we have this season?
Yeah, in some case, so to answer the question, it's more of a byproduct of just like where the patch took us, or rather where the update took us, right? That said, there is a non-trivial audience out there that they prefer linear dungeons and what those provide, right? But we're also well aware that, especially for players that want to go like really deep into the season, that routing is really important, right? Everyone wants to like cook the route, right, for the top 1% or whatever. So we still made changes even to those linear dungeons. Like there are some just, you know, options now in Void Scar, for example, going left or right depending on what buff you want, or like the spawning's a little bit different based on your comp or dispels. We heard the feedback on KR like not having enough options, so like we did keep it linear, but for higher end groups, right, we added a couple options there. Same for Ruby life pools. We added some trash that's like kind of out of the way, because if you want to route or you want to make an option or take some different pulls there, you can do it. And
yeah, there was no options at the beginning with King's Rest. You had to pull all of the trash.
then additionally, sometimes what we perceive is you know, open is linear and vice versa. So sometimes we don't see it the same way, but.
All right, last Mythic Plus question. This one's just for me. Are there any plans on changing the resilience system?
Ooh.
We're paying pretty close attention to how it's playing out now that more and more people are going after the top 1%. No changes to announce today, but it's very much on our radar and something we're discussing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I'm not like, we kind of hit a riot point recently with Resil. I think a lot of people saw it coming, but I feel like the conversations that we've been having recently about like Resil has like hit like riot level where Blizzard actually does something. So I would not be surprised if like later on this season they do something. I'm not surprised that it's like a nothing answer. Not gonna lie. There is some kind of like sweet spot with the Resil system, but I don't know. I think it would be a big fail if they don't do anything this season with Resil, because like this is like season 2 of an expansion is always the best time to try some weird shit, even if it sucks. Like this is absolutely the time to experiment, because this is usually like kind of like the low point of an expansion, you know. So I don't know. We'll see. Issue with Resil keys is that people who have a lot of connections are able to basically just queue up with their friends for whatever key that they like, and they can kind of treat progressing high-level keystones almost like raiding, where you're saying, hey guys, tonight we're going to do Ruby life pools, and you just grind that shit out until you get it, you know? Whereas like other people are going to have to kind of just grind their way through it, or do homework keys to try to roll the key that they want, all that kind of stuff, you know? That's kind of how it goes. Like, it can help sometimes in pugs and everything like that as well. Wish I worked at a job where I could blow everything off, be like, yeah, it's on the radar. Well, apply to Blizzard, baby. Yeah. I actually didn't get a chance, Reese. They shut down the servers. So, if the whole group is 21s, you just get Resil 21 in that group. I would kind of love it if you've already timed the key, you could just go one higher, honestly. I'd be happy with that. I don't think any like solo queue system would be any good, because like it would basically just be LFG but worse.
Pivoting back a little bit to raid, talking about some of that, I just have a question, because I think to me, being a fly on the wall in the Blizzard office, watching Lura progression with the knowledge that there was a phase 4 coming had to be electric. What was that like for you guys, just like sitting there, knowing that there was more, watching like the Race for World First guilds battling it out, knowing that the raid was not ending that day?
We probably have class changes tonight. That's why we're hanging out and watching this video, guys. We probably do. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'd say there's like a 90% chance that we have some class tuning changes coming around.
Yeah, I mean, needless to say, is a lot of fun. I don't know what that says about us, that we find fun in watching, these guys go through hundreds of polls and knowing that they have a secret phase still left to do. It's kind of sadistic when you think about it too much, but
True.
no,
Guys
yeah,
are
there's a
some
lot of
sickos.
fun. Like ultimately, that's why we're all making games is because we want, to create like really memorable, cool experiences for players, and to be able to like hide something like that, especially in today's modern age of data mining and everything kind of being online all the time. Yeah, we're just glad to be able to not only make it a cool experience for them, but like that was streamed and televised for the entire community in general. It was a cool beat for us to sort of make that and have that be an experience for everybody.
Yeah, being able to hide that was unbelievable. Like that is one of the coolest things I've seen in a hot minute. Okay, pivoting to raid difficulty a little bit. Are there actually any key metrics that are attempted to be hit whenever your guys are looking at a raid instance? For example, like what percentage of the overall player base gets AOTC, or what percentage of mythic guilds that step foot into mythic complete the content? Are there specific check marks that you guys are looking for?
Yeah, there definitely are. This one's kind of near and dear to my heart because before I was on the WoW design team, I was on the Blizzard analytics team. So this is a lot of the stuff that I looked at. But yeah, so the things you mentioned are things we absolutely track, right? Like how many players who are still in the season or still engaging actively have completed these milestones. One thing we also look at is just general velocity. So if you think about like how many players who are engaging that boss who are finding success each week, you generally want that number to increase week over week, right? You want people who were almost at that threshold last week to feel like they have a better chance this week. And that's many factors, right? That might be like new strategies that are coming out. That might be, increases in gear. It might be, somewhat external factors to the encounter itself, like new gear being introduced, like we did in 1205 and 1207. So we look at velocity as well, as like how many people are getting over that threshold compared to last week. Because as long as that is increasing, then we don't want to rob players of an opportunity to improve on their own and reach that threshold. Because if we're too fast on a nerf, it feels like we're moving the goalpost, and that's a much worse feeling, right? Than struggling a little bit, but then achieving something on your own. So yeah, I would say velocity is a big one we look at.
Yeah, and I mean, something you talked about was like the moving the goalpost, and that kind of ties into the next question I had. I think it was like a Morgan Day interview. It was kind of discussed how Mythic is made for many different groups of people, and the challenge that a team may face whenever they're fighting in, like, say, a World Top 10 guild versus a Race to World Last guild. The level and when you reach that fight in a season is going to vary drastically. Talking about a fight like Lura specifically, because I think that's a fight where we've seen some guilds now accumulating 500 to 600 attempts on that kind of boss. What are some challenges in designing fights that feel both satisfying, but also kind of scale well beyond just like the World Top 10 in terms of like boss design?
Yeah, that's could talk about this one for a couple hours probably.
Yeah.
Very difficult task, right? Because I agree with Morgan here that Mythic hides many difficulties inside of it, right?
Yep.
It has multitudes. You have people on one end, like the Liquids and the Echoes of the world, like those guys are raiding around the clock. They got personal chefs and stuff. And then you just got your regular old Mythic raider who's a great WoW player, but is on the other end of that spectrum. So some things we try not to do is, remove the core hook or the core challenge, right? Like we want the encounter that you face at home, if you're Race to World Last, we want that encounter to resemble the thing, right?
Yeah.
From a thematic standpoint, from the central challenge of the encounter that Liquid and, the Liquids, Echoes, and Methods of the world also faced. The other thing we try not to do is remove progress. So that's a big red flag for us when we're talking about changes. It's why we very infrequently will touch an encounter's schedule, because that sort of memory, like muscle memory that a raid group is developing over time from week to week as they're 50, 100 pulls, what have you, into a boss encounter, is something that feels really, really bad to relearn. And we've recognized that from, our past changes. And, I try really hard, when directing the team to make changes, that we don't touch schedule stuff. But another thing that we try to keep in mind is just designing ahead of ourselves. Like when we are designing these types of bosses, we know that they're going to go undergo changes, following the Race to World First, following the Hall of Fame.
How do we nerf the boss?
Historically, that has been the case, and we have no reason to expect that to change in the future. So we try to keep an eye on things that might be difficult to adjust back down. So I think in Lure in particular, I think
by schedule, they basically, what they're talking about with like mythic difficulty is that there's world first difficulty, there's like, I don't know, world 40 or 50-ish, and then they usually do a nerf right after the world 40 or 50-ish. This time they did it actually kind of earlier. They did it like before world top 10, I think. And then they do like a Hall of Fame difficulty, and then they do like a cutting edge. Nah, EU and US are together. So they basically are like, how can we consistently nerf the hardest boss fights so that other guilds don't have to have like world first level mechanics, Because there's a lot of times where world first guilds are very easily able to deal with the mechanics of a fight, but then the damage is extremely, like the damage check is crazy tight. And so like they have to play perfectly doing damage and doing the mechanics, and that's just like an enormous challenge, So yeah, they're basically just saying we plan and scale out the nerfs. We kind of have an idea as to how things are coming, but obviously if the players really struggle with a specific mechanic, then we try to kind of tune that down and kind of focus that down, So it's kind of like, when you're like, hey, what does this machine interact with? And you turn the machine off, and then you just wait and see who in the office starts screaming at you. It's kind of like that, where like they kind of have some stuff planned, but then they're also like, okay, when somebody starts yelling about a mechanic, we can know we should start nerfing that for other people.
There were difficulties in terms of how much responsibility was on, the crystal carriers.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it doesn't feel good getting an easier version. That's very fair, Link. But also at the same time, what he was talking about earlier from their analytics perspective was about momentum. And like, now that you might be different, like there's obviously exceptions to this rule, but what he alluded to is basically if guilds struggle to make progress, then they just die. And so they always want to make sure, even if it might feel a little bit bad, that they're going to make it so that every week you feel like you have a better chance to kill the boss than last week. And sometimes it's ham-fisted where they nerf something too heavily and it's like, well, this is a joke. This didn't feel that satisfying. But I think they're saying it's better than the alternative where they make it so hard that like guilds are dying and falling apart because they can't make further progress.
That was something I think it was hard to adjust late in the season because it's a really core part of the encounter, and there's a lot that's sort of elegantly tied into that from an encounter design perspective. But yeah, it's something we try to keep in mind because we know there's a lot of different audiences, and we want to make sure that whichever audience you're in, that you have a reasonable expectation of success when you go in there.
I think it absolutely makes sense. All right, so now we've actually seen more and more guilds starting to dip their toes into splits.
Yeah, with the AUG abuse, and so the AUG abuse was an interesting one because if you were that coordinated, you would get a damage advantage. And so like they hotfixed the AUG stuff, and then they also nerfed the fight so that it was less about a coordination advantage that would help you clear it, and then they kind of just reduced, I guess, some of the skill cap to the fight. Yeah.
For tier trinkets, very rare items, splits have been a thing. I saw a video the other day, I think it was like yesterday, where a world ranked 1500 guild is doing splits or something. Is this something by the team that I
Bro,
see?
he just did a look at this guy cannot believe what he just heard. Oh man. Yeah, EUI stuff, Bjorn, is gonna go live on Tuesday. Basically because they changed around how the party raid frame buff tracking works. I have to import it when the patch hits, and then it'll work. Yeah.
Drew laughing. Do you guys see this as problematic, or is this more of just like a part of the play pattern that players experience in 2026?
Yeah, I think we've always viewed splits as sort of problematic, like it in their inherently, right? That's not really how we want you playing the game. But they have also been a part of the very high end competitive community for a while now. we are always keeping an eye on how far that penetrates down into our competitive player base. There's sort of the reality of it is how much pressure the highest level is putting on lower players, right? Like even if it's not something your guild is doing, if it feels like you should be doing it, that's a psychological effect that we need to keep an eye on. But we also try to keep an eye on it just from like a quantitative standpoint, like how many guilds are going in, and actually doing splits, as you go down the Hall of Fame ranking or as you get even further. So we're keeping an eye on it from an analytical standpoint. And I do think it's been more of a focus for us lately just because of the split tier. Like with 3 raids, it kind of gives you more options and to potentially split up a part of the tier, whereas in the past you may not have wanted to lock out your entire instance in that configuration. So it's something I think if we would do a tier that is split this evenly again, that we really would want to keep our eye on, and something that we kind of like went through a bit of a learning phase on when Midnight launched.
Yeah, I think that the next question I had was something that was maybe a little bit more relevant with some of the mid-tier bosses in like the War Within with Forge Weaver Araz and then Brew Twister Ovanax, those type of bosses. Does designing early bosses in a raid, whenever the guilds have kind of an accelerated gear curve, make that more gradual process difficult to where guilds are then, guilds with sub 20 pulls clear through Roshanon, and then they're on Brew Twister Ovanax, and they don't really have that great a gear, and maybe they shouldn't be there. Does like having accelerated gear make that more difficult to design for?
Yeah, it does. Those bosses, like when the Race World First folks get there, like they have a lot of gear really fast, right?
Yeah.
But then oftentimes, a guild that just is worried about CE by the end of the season kind of has like the same or sometimes even better gear by the time they get there, just because they've had many weeks of Vault progress, many weeks of M+, and sometimes they can catch up a little bit. It's often the mechanical ask that we find to be hard to balance, because making something that's mechanically taxing for a top 50 guild is, very different than making something that's mechanically taxing for, just like a more, a CE guild. So I would say that part of it is more difficult than the like throughput tuning or like patchwork style tuning for like the middle part of the raid in particular.
Okay, last question that I have for you guys. We're coming up on the 22nd year of World of Warcraft. Game's a little bit old now. How does the team actually continue to push the envelope in regards to raid encounters? How do you make them feel fresh? And then also, how do you know whenever a big shakeup is necessary? Because I think it's been basically since Warlords of Draenor that the last large shakeup with the raid was undertaken. Before then, we had one basically every single expansion. How do you know when like a big shakeup is necessary?
Yeah, so 2 parts there, I think. How do we push the envelope? So, yeah, we're always looking for new ways, to engage players in raids, like new mechanics, things we haven't done before. It's often also like a good practice just to go back at things that have worked in the past and like, what does that look like in the modern game? Like a cool example of that, and this is like a very old example these days, but like, looking at the first encounter of a BWL and then like Sakrathar the Eternal from Warlords. Like those are 2 encounters that are kind of just drive the boss around in different ways, but you can kind of see a through line through different raid encounters if you look back at WoW's history of like reimagining old things, in a modern style. And sometimes that can give a really cool lens on, how would we do this again? How would we achieve that style of encounter in modern WoW gameplay with modern WoW sensibilities and how players want to play the game?
What he's saying, and like, how do you keep stuff fresh? Is he saying you go back and you say, here's a boss fight that like we thought was the best shit ever when we had no idea how to play the game, and like, what if we actually modernized it? And so they're talking about like remastering boss fights, which they've directly done with things like Ra-Den, where they remade Ra-Den in Ny'alotha. They remade Il'gynoth. So like sometimes what he's saying is like they remake bosses directly, and sometimes they're like, oh, it was like Jimmy from BWL, but like now we're gonna rename the boss, but it's gonna have a lot of the same mechanics, and we're gonna kind of reimagine it.
But we're also, we go to new places. Our narrative team takes us to awesome new stories, and our world building dungeon art teams take us to new locations. And that often just, seeds us with tons of new ideas. We've never made a raid before that's like this giant,
Snakes.
snake-infested ancient troll temple. Like, we've had troll stuff before, right? But this is an entirely new take on that type of troll history and mythology. So it seeds us with new creative ideas all the time. The second part of that is, like, how do you know when a new shakeup is necessary?
True.
And that's just listening to players.
Very true.
We know there's always room for improvement on a game that comes out patch after patch and expansion after expansion, has such a storied history like WoW. We know that just doing the same thing over and over again is not really what players want of us. They want us to be reimagining how players are playing the game and reacting to feedback. So just listening a lot, playing a lot ourselves, trying to stay in tune with, the community and people who represent it like you, and making sure that, as
I'm blushing!
play styles change and how people play games change, that we're also reacting, to feedback.
All right, cool. That was everything I had. Any final words from either of you guys? We can start with Drew if you have any final thoughts.
Yeah, looking forward to people getting into season 2. I think, especially with community feedback, it's shaping up to look really, really solid. If you had a good time in season 1, you're going to have an even better time in season 2.
Let's go.
Yeah, Drew and I are super stoked, right, for people to come back for season 2. One of the things I'm super excited about is actually our raid reward changes in the vault. So there's big new changes coming. If you aren't familiar, if you're a heroic raider and you're completing, your heroic row, raid rewards are actually going to be 1 tier up from what they were in season 1. So if you're spending tons of time, and that goes for every level, right? So if you're mythic raider, you come back to your vault, you're going to have either 6 to 6 or 9 out of 6 gear in your vault. If you're completing mythic bosses. So good. If you haven't raided for a while, or you're raiding very little in Midnight Season 1, we hope you'll come back and try out raiding in Midnight Season 2 and the Venomous Abyss and Tidebound Grotto, and get better rewards than ever in Midnight.
Cool. I just want to extend a thanks to both of you guys for making such a great game and making it a game that I personally want to log into day after day. I know a lot of people give you guys some flack in the Blizzard office, but
including him.
Just want to extend my appreciation for you guys making such a really good game.
Of course, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, let's fucking go. That was a banger interview. That was a fucking banger interview.
Everybody?
Good guy Teddle's getting the Encounter Dev interview too. As much shit as we can give Blizzard for a lot of things, I think the Encounter Devs have been the absolute brightest spot of the expansion. Absolutely. Yeah, the rerolls do as well, Green Machine. So what is also understated here is that when you get to Ulatek, let's say you're in a guild that kills Ulatek Heroic, if you bonus coin roll Ulatek, you get 1 out of 6 or 1 out of 9, I think, mythic pieces from Heroic Ulatek. So what should be happening is you would hold your coin rolls basically for you would basically go to your vault and then take the extra coin roll as your reward from the vault, and then you would just spam coin roll Ulatek and get all that gear. That's actually what you would do instead of taking your vault rewards. So instead of taking an item for your vault, you take the coin roll, bonus roll Ulatek. That's going to be the sweaty hardcore raider strategy, it looks like. So that was a fun game, man. Not from August 18th Midman. Nah. That's the pre-season vault or whatever. Nah. Yeah, is PTR actually up? Yeah, I mean, a lot of their push is that they just really want to get people to raid. For the top plates, the show? No, it doesn't show actually. There's a Horde one, there's a Star Fox one, and there's a Blade Runner one. Yeah. Yeah, raid items are also 1. Yeah. Yeah, you only get 1 at a time now. Yep. Didn't seem to be any class changes. Let's see. Did servers just come back up a second ago? Sometimes what happens is they have class changes, but they don't post the blue post yet. That can happen. But I don't know. Maybe they just didn't have any changes. That's also possible. It's also very, very possible. From you.
I have many lucky doos you like.
Bury me, bury me. Sell a couple garbage pieces here.
Good fortune to our friends.
Breaking news of Okra Unchanged. Let's see. Any atonement changes? No, still 32%. That looks the same. That looks the same. That looks the same. Not seeing anything. Of course, it's the exact place you want it to be. You could shove Imperial Legacy up your behind. Dude. Zortha showed Raidbot's bot found changes in the new build, so something happened. Maybe it's just class or dungeon changes. Could be. Yeah, it could be. Do you want to play too much and all the healers? You should. Nothing wrong will happen with your real life if you just play lots of World of Warcraft. Trust me, smile. They touched Inescapable Torment ages ago, but you probably saw it last week, or I guess this week, when they posted the notes. But those changes hit PTR like a month ago. So it what this post is basically the official patch notes is a summary of everything they've done over the course of PTR. So like, yeah, they nerfed Inescapable Torment by 30%, but that was like months ago. Yeah. So what I expect to happen is that all these changes go live on Tuesday. And then if we get more tuning, which we should, then they might stay on PTR for a week and then go live when the season starts, the 18th. So, Smite hits a little harder, but it's still pretty shit. Void Blast, though, is really, really good. Void Blast is like an insane button. And so you want to be like pounding that Void Blast. You want to be slamming it. Yeah. Never liked the big ramp, so it's basically gone. Basically, you don't really get as much healing for applying more atonements as you used to. That's kind of the big thing right now, I guess you could say. You still will want to like ramp up and everything like that as you have. You still will want to like try to ramp as best as you possibly can. When you have like Avenge or Uppies or something like that coming around. This is the actual patch. Yeah. But what you'll probably end up doing, Conti, a lot is like in between evangelism, in between all of this kind of stuff. This isn't new, by the way, guys. This is all the official patch changes. Just to clarify. But what you're probably gonna do gameplay wise is you're gonna like float between like 5 and 10 atonements all the time and just hit Mind Blast and Radiance on cooldown until you're about to have your evangelism, and then you'll actually try to get to like 20-ish atonements. Yeah. Yeah, definitely Smoochie. I think Caprice is a pretty good selection. I thought we would get some tuning today, Emerson. It might happen. I mean, if it's not in the next like 5-10 minutes or something like that, then tuning might be canceled. But that's just like constant noisy, constant healing. So you'll always try to keep up like around 5 or 10. There's not an exact number, but like that's your downtime. You'll have like 5 to 10. For your evangelism or for your uppies, you do want to have like 20 atonements. But you basically are not putting like tons of thought into mini ramping anymore. You're not like, oh, I got a whole Bolt by Radiance just for this one damage event to reverse it. Like, that's not much of a thing. So, I heard Windwalker, Jaden. I heard a lot of people were liking Windwalker. On our shoulders. Yeah, but you do get a lot of... I'll show you. You do get a lot of atonement uptime. You're going to get a lot of atonement uptime with your Void Shields and Indemnity. Because you get a lot of Void Shields. Mind Blast is a hasted cooldown, which means the more haste you have, the lower the cooldown. And so you're going to have multiple charges of Void Shields. And Indemnity gives you longer duration. So you're going to have a lot of atonement uptime. So, Void Weaver doesn't really feel bursty in Dungeons hotfix. That's my beef with it. Yeah. Yeah, it's in PTR, Conti. They're going to have it go live next week. But it's just basically like a testing ground. I think we'll be able to queue for it or something like that. But yeah, it's just a testing ground. You can test damage, you can test healing. All kinds of stuff. Alright, since you guys liked that last song, I'm running it back. Yeah, I don't think it's live yet. But I think it will be live on Tuesday. Yeah, like Varethi said, that was my beef with Final Fantasy rating, man. You would just like spreadsheet out your cooldowns. And as a healer, it was kind of cool when you had good synergy with another healer. But man, if you had a bad second healer, holy shit, dude. They would be using cooldowns at random fucking times. You'd have to hardcast sometimes, not hardcast other times. It was a nightmare. It's playable, Lound, but Virtue's just overall stronger. It doesn't cost that much mana. The duration feels good. So I'd recommend Raid Voidweaver to start with like this talent build. It might be that some fights are really shit for it, but I would recommend people start with it. It's a lot easier to go from Voidweaver to Oracle than to go from Oracle to Voidweaver. So I'd like recommend people start playing with it, get comfortable with it with a patch. So yeah, what you can do, if you guys want to see the talent builds early, click on that link. Basically, all you need, this is for Raid, for reference. This is for Raid. But just make sure that you have the 12-1 PTR selected. I already updated the builds. I haven't finished the guides yet. I'm submitting them Sunday night. And then they're going to probably post them on Tuesday. But basically, make sure you have this selected. And then at the bottom of the page, you have this drop-down menu. That's a good way I can make sure you guys see it. There you go. You see how there's a check mark? That means it's updated. So some writers may not have updated their stuff yet, but if you click Voidweaver M+, you'll see that there's a check mark to it. That means it's been updated for the patch. So that way you can be like, oh, here's what you do. Shadowmen, Blaze, Eternal Barrier, etc. Yeah. I literally just did these today. I literally just did these today. But that's how you'll be able to see them early if you want to. But just make sure you have the PTR 12-1 selected. Yeah. But if you go to, I don't know, like Pally, let's see. You know, you could select a build and, oh, he does have them updated. So he has them updated for season 2. So see, he has a check mark. Let's see, who's maybe not done it? Maybe monks haven't. Holy shit, dude. Is this really happening? So see how he has Altar of Fangs builds already? But let's say Conduit M+. Oh, he has that too. Shit, dude. He's on it. Wowhead Squad's on it. They're fucking on it. Nah, I didn't get invited to Cast World first this time around. I'll be staying home making content. Yeah, let's check Kalamazoo. What does he do? Affliction? I think he writes Affliction. Maybe they changed it. Maybe it just always chose the plus sign. Yep. Healer gameplay designer at Blizzard. They would beat me with hammers at the Blizzard office. Like, this fucking guy won't shut up. Yo, what up, Zoo? 4 assignments and 6 exams this week? That's tough, man. Get them done. We got WoW to play the week after. I hope Bloody K stays strong, man. Let's make some hammers at the office. Hopefully they're raising their hammers, dude. Hopefully they're raising their hammers for Paladin season. Raid drops on the 18th. You got like 11 days, man. Yeah. I'm just yapping. I'm answering questions about next season. We're talking about talent builds for next season. Yes, Voidweaver, haste is the main stat. So much so that you want haste food. What was the other note I had that Clan had told me about? Oh, yeah. And you want to run a recklessness pot, but because of all the haste we're getting on our gear in this season, you don't want to have recklessness pot get used with Bloodlust or with PI. You want it separate from those. Yeah. Nah, Big Mac didn't get invited to Cast World first this time. Be staying home, streaming more. Blizzard ever asked me for feedback directly? They don't like DM me or anything like that, no. I talked to a guy who I've like had a couple conversations with and everything like that over the years. And he was like, yeah, I usually just watch your videos. So I kind of took that as like, okay, if I want to give feedback, I'll just make a fucking video about it, you know? So. Yeah, I appreciate it, Green. Shit's competitive, you know? Win the world first in my guild? All right, let's go. Let's fucking go. Incarnate, US first, world first. Let's do it. The Recklessness pot, yeah, for just a recap for those who don't know, is a really strong potion that reduces one of your... It reduces your lowest secondary, but increases your highest secondary. And so, assuming you get like a lot of gear, right? You're gonna hit haste DR points where you're gonna get GCD capped, which means you're gonna spam Void Blast so much that more haste doesn't help you cast it any faster. Basically, you run into the global cooldown. So again, this is when you're very well geared next season. Recklessness is good, especially with Void Weaver, but you don't want to stack it on top of PI or Bloodlust. You want to use it separately. But if you're somebody who just likes to macro your pot and chill, just run Light's Inspiration, you'll be fine. It's a slight, it's like a super sweaty thing. But you guys are interested in this kind of stuff, so I'm just letting you know. I'll probably have it like in a little blurb in the site. But yeah. Do you play Oracle until 2-piece? I'd probably just say just get used to Voidweaver, Andres. It's been a long time since anybody's been playing Voidweaver in Raid. I would just say get used to it. I'll probably just be playing it so I can get used to it. Because you want to get comfortable in the raid fights and standing still. Like maybe it's a little suboptimal or something, but it'll be on the early fights, that don't really matter as much. Yeah. I think we're getting catalyst charges pretty quick again, too. I didn't look into that yet. Season release date's on the 18th. Yeah. It would remove it? Did it? Yeah. So, Voidweaver's the best, and again, I want to preface this. Voidweaver's the best on paper. It is possible that you could run Oracle just because like the movement is going to be really high or punishing, which it looked like on a lot of fights. I'll tell you, on my raid testing, I got better healing out of Oracle because of all the movement, but I also did not have a turbo haste set the way I will when I hit live. So, food for thought. But I also know it's a lot easier to go from playing Voidweaver to go play Oracle afterwards. And that's why I'm recommending it. It's higher numbers on paper. all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I believe we have more tuning before the 18th. I don't know when. I thought it'd be today, but who knows? Yeah. Mistweaver's like kind of bad right now in raids. Yeah. I would be shocked if Mistweaver went live in this environment. So yeah, I just made a video with Clandon yesterday about Disc Priest. So Disc is like, or Mistweaver's like mid in keys right now, Guat. It's okay. Not the best though. But again, I'd be really shocked if nothing happened to Mistweaver before the season started. I would be so surprised. But yeah, the video coming up, or the video that we posted for Disc Priest on the YouTube channel, it not only talks about some scaling issues, but it also talks about how your decisions are being made when you play Disc, and that like you don't want to focus on like your mini ramps building up, 15, 20 atonements when outside of evangelism or outside of uppies. You kind of just like hit your radiances on cooldown in between evang, in between uppies. So yeah. It's viable, but Virtue's better, Lounadol. Yeah. Yeah, Voidweaver is for sure weak in keys. Yeah. It's for sure weak. World first healer comp. Double disc, Paladin, and either like Shaman or Prez right now. Shaman has a really big benefit that I didn't actually cover in the video because I forgot about it. And I got reminded about it. Called Elemental Resistance. Elemental Resistance. And so what this does is the healing from Healing Stream Totem reduces your fire, frost, and nature damage by 6%. And since the entire raid's nature damage, this is like a Devo aura, basically. So, double disc is insane damage right now. That's why I think it's going to get nerfed. We even talked about it in our video yesterday, that like we think it's going to get nerfed. Yeah, you bet, Madison. Welcome in. Yeah. Yeah, Farseer keeps getting buffs, but it's still behind Totemic. It's closer, though. I think it's a lot closer than it used to be. I don't really put a lot of stock in like the Chinese tier list, Barini. It does like Prez does a bunch of damage and everything, sure. I think we are still gonna be worrying about like raid buffs in the composition, overall heal output, stuff like that. Also, Prez has a couple bugs. UT was telling me where, what is it? Consume Flame is like double dipping off Grace Period, I think is what he said. So. Oracle has longer lasting atonements, Link, and 2 charges of penance, and more of your healing is bound into your penance casts than Voidweavers are. So it allows you to move around a lot more easily. So they should, Dave. Yeah, they should. That would be the way to do it, is like nerf damage buff atonement. So yep. That's the thing. Some things that I have like high confidence in are like nerfing discs damage, doing some kind of buffs to Mistweaver, probably like reverting that 8% nerf that they had. I'm not sure what else, but probably that. That made everything feel shit. Also, I have high confidence in. That's kind of the top 2. I don't know. There's some things that might happen, but I would not say I have high confidence in them happening. But disc damage getting nerfed, an atonement buff to compensate, yeah, that's a pretty safe bet. Mistweaver not being in the shit spot going live, that's a pretty safe bet. So, yeah, it is, Barini. Xbox is working. You always use penance, regardless of what spec you're playing, you always use penance on enemies. Defensive penance is hard dead. Does like no healing, doesn't apply atonements anymore. Shit stanks. Yeah. Yeah, hey, that's another one, Ivan. Another high confidence. Another 5% healing to Holy Priest. Actually, I think it's 6%. Another 6% healing to Holy Priest. Yeah. You do take Searing Light sometimes. Yeah. We have Searing Light in a couple builds. Don't care what you think. Oracle M Plus runs it. Oracle Raid runs it. Void Weaver does not, because you focus on Blaze of Light instead. Void Weaver Raid doesn't run it either, because you focus on Blaze instead. So, do I prefer Japanese movies or Russian movies? Sorry, man. I only know about American movies, like The Odyssey, Spider-Man. I had my brother, one of my brothers, showed me a Russian movie one time about like the fall of the Soviet Union and about how this guy would like recycle the wrapper of like a can of, I don't know, beets or something like that, so that it still had the like Soviet wrapper on it, even though they had like, I don't know, fucking name brands, you know, grocery brands, now that like the Soviet Union fell apart or something like that. And it was like a 51st dates kind of thing where she forgot stuff, but he tried to keep on deceiving her that the Soviet Union didn't fall, even as the world was changing. And it was an incredibly boring movie. I'm sorry. It probably was supposed to teach me stuff, but I was like 12 and I was like, I don't know how you watch this. And he was like 18. Learned about the world. So yeah. But man, watching the Lestrigians or whatever, the guys in iron running down Matt Damon on the island, that was pretty damn entertaining. Nah, they're not going to do that, Borger. Tetris one? Nah, never heard of it. I've never seen it, rather. Ramping is important during your cooldowns, Romas, but outside of your cooldowns, not so much. Not so much. Honestly, it was good. I watched this a second time. Yeah. I mean, like, it was a very good, I would call it a popcorn movie. You know, it's not like Tenet, where I was like, man, this shit owns. You know? Tenet was like probably one of my favorite movies of all time. That was like, I'm watching like a piece of art, you know? But Odyssey was like a good popcorn movie where you're like, wow, I see that actor or actress, you know, and they kind of just pop on the screen at you, you know? Talent changes for Shaman. I know they have this Swelling Tides, but I'm not really sure if they're actually running it or not. I'm not sure if they're actually running it. Ooh, it looks like they might be. They might be. I don't know. I know Downpour's good. I know Downpour's good if you get people to stack in it, which is a big question. Yeah. Not enough scenes of the men bathing together. I still haven't seen Severance. No, there's a bunch of shows on Apple TV. I've not subbed to Apple TV ever. I think my friend can give me like a discount or something like that. I should ask them. Farseer keeps getting closer to Totemic, but I think Totemic's still ahead a little bit. Just download it? I know, I'm fucking lazy, man. I haven't really watched a lot of TV, I'll be honest. Yeah. Oh, 100% Conti. That's why I call it like a popcorn movie. I don't mean it as like an insult, but some movies are not like, they're not that heavy. They're not that serious. And other movies are like, you know, The Prestige, and you're like, holy shit, dude. Yeah. I hear there's like a lot of good stuff on Apple TV now. Yeah. Exactly, a little escape. Tenet is a great movie, Midman. Yeah. I saw it the first time when I was on a date. Like, she was like, invited me over to watch the movie, and I was like, this movie is great, and I didn't talk at all, and I just sat there and watched that shit for 3 hours straight or whatever it was. It is a confusing movie. Yeah, you gotta lock in and pay attention. Yeah. I don't think that she knew what she was suggesting when she suggested watching that movie, but I was having the time of my life with that film. Holy shit, dude. Such a good movie. It's like time travel, and I don't know. I can't like go too hard on it. John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, excellent. It's one of those like pay attention, maybe rewatch it kind of things. I like watching with subtitles on, so you can tell what everyone's saying. This board's gonna be sick. It's pretty high right now, Will, but I also don't think that like healer damage is the big make or break at the start of a season. I think people are still learning the dungeons for for a while, and I don't think you really get to a point where like healer damage alone, isolated, just on its own, is like the big thing everyone's valuing at the start. Like Mistweaver being able to do damage and do a shit ton of healing at the same exact time is different, you know? Yeah. I didn't see the trailer yet for the Robert Pattinson movie, but I fucking love Robert Pattinson. He can do no wrong. That dude fucking owns. Any changes? Nothing, man. Crazy. Dude, Robert Pattinson in the Batman, amazing movie. Tenet, amazing movie. Odyssey, good movie. You know, he's been crushing it. He's been crushing it. I never watched Twilight movie in my life, but dude, he is completely like left that behind. He was also Cedric Diggory, if you think about it, in Harry Potter. Did a great job there as well. You know, I know they will, Zarth. You're right, but I feel like I should put everybody. I feel like I should tank it for the team. You know. I feel like I should tank it for the team, so you guys just don't have to keep on waiting. You know. Okay, so you can kind of prep it, Link. You can kind of prep your Void Shields. If you get like a minute before the pull and you keep on mashing defensive penances, you can build up 2 Void Shields before the pull begins and have 6 Void Shields out before the fight starts. You could. It's a little annoying, but you could. Yeah. I know, Griff. I know, man. Not play things, buffing shields, go for execute. No, because they kept nerfing that stuff skill. If they didn't nerf it a bunch, you know, probably, but they nerfed expiation, I think. Did they nerf expiation at the beginning of the expansion? They definitely nerfed Inescapable Torment this patch by 30%. So they kind of just made all that shit awful. So with the build that we're going to be running, you're going to run Blaze and you're going to prio Void Blast over everything, guys. Void Blast is life. Like, if you want to be really sweaty, I was talking to Clandon about it, and he did the math. We're probably not going to include it in our guides. This is going to be a little off-guide tip. But if you want to be really sweaty, you hit your penance for cooldown reduction on Mind Blast, and then you just clip the cast. You interrupt the penance cast and hit a Void Blast. Yeah. I think Voker's got legs if they nerf like Paladin or something like that, Groot, but I feel like Paladin would probably be the safer pick, especially early in a season. You know? I feel like Evoker's something that could be like, if it stays in a really strong position going into 0.5, that's where, you know, the meta really settles, then I could see it happening. But if you wanted a safer option at the start of the season, I think Paladin is like the guy. So that's if you want to be super sweaty, Link. That's if you want to be super, super sweaty. It's a very slight increase. I may not even do it, to be honest, but we'll see. Yeah. Careful, Corey. You don't know the future. If I knew the future, if I could tell what Blizzard was going to do before it happened, I would be on a beach sipping Mai Tais right now. Actually, probably mojito, but, you know. Nah, every time you cast Penance, it grants you cooldown reduction for Mind Blast. So you would like get the cooldown reduction and then you'd clip it. Our Shaman is sleeper for raids. It's good in keys too, but like I think it's kind of perma, like A tier, you know, S minus, whatever you want to say. Yeah. But Shaman I for sure underrated Shaman. I was saying it earlier. They have this passive called Elemental Resistance, which reduces their the people who get healing from your healing stream totem get nature damage reduction. And that's gonna be really good in the raid. So it's basically Devo Aura, but it works for nature damage. which is most of the damage we're experiencing. So Shaman is actually going to be very, very good. Yeah. What I'm going to do, Debo, is I'm going to push on Priest at the start of the season, rain or shine. And then I'm going to have my Paladin and probably my Monk, unless they just nuke the shit out of Monk. I'm going to go with those, my 2 alts for split runs. And then I'm going to like prio Priest until raid progression's over. And then I'll kind of see whatever's going to be fought from there. I was playing some Druid stuff earlier in Keys Wing, and the Druid Discord gave me a pretty good build. I want to do another raid test, because everyone had all kinds of opinions about like how the testing went for Druid. And I'd rather people just like step up and go test it themselves kind of thing. So I told people if there's more healer tuning, then I'll do another round of Dummy Dome tomorrow. And then we can, you know, kind of see how it's going to go. It's a lot of totems, Griffin. So I asked a couple people. They said they'd be around. So we'll see. We'll see. At least at the moment, noisy. Yeah, that might change, but like, stay tuned, basically. Yeah. Yeah. But although it kind of looks like a Boomkin tier, so I think RDruid would have to be like really, really powerful to be in something like Race to World first. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to go head off as well. It doesn't seem like we got tuning. But they might just launch tuning the second I log off. Because that's happened like at least 5 different times. That's happened like 5 different times. So I'm gonna head off tomorrow. If there's tuning tonight, I'll start tomorrow with the Dummy Dome, and so we'll need volunteers on PTR. Just keep that in mind. If not, we will probably try to do some live pushing keys and try to wrap up title, because I need 2 more key upgrades to be safe for title. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks for all the love, guys. Take it easy. Stream back tomorrow. We slam. GG's.